Alright guys, we're back. Alright, let's start SCV production. Yeah, lots of new maps today. Alright guys, so people were asking me in the last one, they're like, well, what's all this control group camera location? Remember guys, if you don't have camera locations, it's totally fine. You can play without it. But if you are making them, we'll answer those questions now. So if you want to center it, you need to add the command center to the control group. When you double tap or you click this portrait, either of those is going to center it. And that's when you remake it so it's perfectly centered. Okay, guys? You can't perfectly center your camera locations until you have a building down. All right? So we grab these guys, build a barracks, build a gas, send a scout. And now let's talk about it. So how do I do it? Normally, I click on the minimap. And then if it's not quite centered, I will use my drag scroll. This is the only time I use drag scroll. So by default, that's where you hold down the middle mouse button. And while you're holding it down, you can move your screen around. F2, F3, F4, F5. Obviously, I did that very quickly. It takes a lot of practice to get that quick. You guys will not be that quick for a long time. Now remember, if you don't use camera locations, there are pro gamers who don't use camera locations. Not so many these days, but definitely a lot in the earlier days of StarCraft 2. So don't stress over it too much, guys. And check that out, guys. We just saw a Nexus. So that's kind of all we really needed to see, right? Orbital and reactor. And that's all we needed to see. We've seen an expansion, so we're just going to tell our SCV to come home, mine, because we don't need anything else, okay? We build the command center. Pig, do you recommend using drag scroll in fights? I don't use drag scroll for anything except that. I use the edge scroll, and as I said, you want to turn that way up to about, I use 90%. Let's build a depot. Q. Back to mining. Use that shift key, guys. Always using that shift key. SCVs and mules. But Cyril and Raynor and a few of those guys do use that all the time. And they say they only every now and then use the edge scroll. Most of the time, a few of those top guys use the drag scroll. So it's totally up to you which one you guys get used to using. I'm an old dog. I don't think I'll ever really learn the drag scroll. So what are we doing, guys? 2 barracks. Back to mining. Control click them. Add them to our barracks key. Keep building SCVs. Someone in chat was saying, I have a suggestion. I think you should always have at least 2 SCVs queued from the moment your second orbital finishes, so you have more consistent SCV production. Even 3. Guys, when you're starting out, you could even always have 3 could be your goal. Just always queue extra. If you're playing at 30 or 40 APM, and you're trying to get better at consistent SCV production, there's nothing wrong with having 2 or 3 queued. Now, we're of course just teaching it as a macro cycle, which is something which will scale really well and really nicely, right? Where we're saying build 2 SCVs per command center every 25 seconds. If that becomes 3, if you find that works better for you, go for it. Go for it. Do 3. That's absolutely fine. And it's something where at the start of the game, you only really want to have 1 queued because you're trying to use every bit of money to build your depots, to build your barracks, to do all these sort of things. But as the game goes on and you have more things to do, you want to simplify things, right? So too often, I coach people, 6 minutes into the game, they're like, build 1 SCV, build 1 SCV. I'm like, dude, you have 50 APM, you're in Silver League, stop trying to do things at such a pro level. Sorry guys, just had a bit of a lag spike there. So stop trying to do things at such a pro level. Oh my lord, my internet's carking it, guys. Oh, sorry guys. Hopefully that settles. So anyways, let's get Gary and Bruce working on their depots, and let's get that factory as well. Remember, these are kind of chunked together in my brain because I've kept forgetting them early on. So I said, okay, I'm always forgetting to build depots. What I actually thought of there was, oh, it's time to build a factory. And then I realized, oh shit, I haven't started the depots yet. And those two kind of go hand in hand, and it's already late. So I went, okay, let's do both at once. So just keep building SCVs and mules, then bio, and then queue up more depots. That's the macro cycle, okay, guys? We just want to keep hitting that over and over again, okay? So this guy, remember, we queued him back to minerals, but with this specific one, we want you to build a starport. So that's cool. So all we're doing is just chilling, guys, following the macro cycle for this middle part. What do? We build 2 SCVs per command center. We drop mules. We build 2 marauders, 4 marines. And we queue up more depots. Sometimes you don't have money. That's fine. You'll get it, guys. If you've been building workers non-stop, your income gets really big really quick. So that's fine. And we could even queue up another 2 depots. If I'm like, man, I always get supply block, I'm gonna queue up extra depots here this time even. we can do stuff like that. Whatever, you know, find things that work for you. Don't be like, oh, I have to follow exactly what Pig does. You want to make everything your own in StarCraft, right? So you want to try and think about it in terms of like, okay, I want to make it make sense to me and feel good for me as a player, right? So for me, in between my macro cycle, what do they do? Starport, concussive shells, 2 gases. Time for another macro cycle. SCV, 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 drop a mule, Marauder, Marauder, Marine, Marine. And we'd like to build other units, we can't. Queue 2 more depots, okay? So we can control click the depots whenever we want, guys. We can raise or lower those, usually lower them to get them out of the way. We can put our barracks, our factory over there. Remember, just be careful with your factory. Make sure there's plenty of space around it. And I like to manually click that and start 2 medevacs just to get production going early on, okay? Now, what's next? 4th and 5th barracks and an engineering bay. Queue them back to mining. And what's our SCV count? Oh, guys, we have enough SCVs. Look at this. That number's red. Even when we put guys on gas. So all we need now is Marines, Marauders, tank. And then we want to control click the barracks, add them to our control group. And our first 2 medevacs are here, so it's time to move out. We box all this, grab it on our army. Let's move across maybe 3/4 of the way across the map. While we're moving across, what do, guys? Depots, upgrades. We'll build a tech lab and a reactor shortly. In the meantime, what are we doing? Not dropping mules. Why? We need scans. Marauders, Marines, tanks, medevacs. You can see, look, I don't even have enough money for all this stuff, guys. We're going to queue a tank. We want to get that tech lab and that reactor going. There's the tech lab. I'm tapping it. Okay. Now our army's getting over there. Oh my gosh, what's this? That's a pretty scary army, guys. We're going to stim, but that's Storm. Run away. How do you fight Storm? Well, you don't do this. You don't just sit there. Oh, no. Oh, thankfully, I have so much stuff. This fight's actually not going to be terrible. But that was pretty painful, right? I'm gonna run out of here. I kind of wanted to fail that engagement that's our one little thing. Let's check. Does he have a 3rd base? Oh, he's going for a 3rd as well. Very nice. Okay, so queue up more Marines, Marauders, tanks, medevacs. I just wanted to make you guys believe I'm a real Silver 2 player right now. Okay, guys, I wanted you to believe I'm a real Silver 2 player. Now remember, Pig, why aren't you expanding? Why aren't you dropping mules? We're just keeping it simple. Just queue up Marines, Marauders. We can queue up an upgrade. We can queue up concussive, which we've already got apparently. Make sure we set the rally points. Every time you add production, you gotta set that rally point. Grab those guys. Okay, guys, so we're gonna go for an attack again. But you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna actually use a mechanic. Remember we set up our dumping key earlier, guys? So remember, all I need to do is press tilde. And this guy, this is my army. If I select a Marine, press tilde, I just stole him onto 0. He's no longer in my army. So why are we doing that? Because we're going to put some Marine spotters out. Tilde, move there. Select a Marine, tilde, move there. Tilde, move to the middle. Tilde, move to there. Because we don't want to accidentally walk into Psystorm. So that's our dumping key that we set up at the start with the mechanics, okay? Now let's queue up more Marines, more Marauders, more tanks, more medevacs. And check this out. Good point from someone in the chat before. They said you want to prioritize your gas units before your bio so that you actually can secure them. Because I just queued up 20 Marauders, which is a little ridiculous. And then I didn't have money for tanks and medevacs. Now, it depends on what's the priority for you, right? You do want to be a little flexible on that. But that's why I usually try to queue up a bit of everything first. So a few Marauders, a few Marines, a few tanks, a few medics. Then if you've got extra money, hold the key down to build more, okay? Let's do some supply drops. So we'll build some tanks, build some medevacs, and let's go again. All right, look at my map vision now, guys. Also, if you're playing a Protoss, do this. Scan above your army before you move out, because there's always a little pervert. I didn't see that. That's just what you do against Protoss, because they're evil, and they've got a little invisible guy who's sitting there just like, oh, making weird mouth noises and being a creepy friggin' bust. But look at my mini-map. So I can feel safe moving out, knowing I'm not going to move into Storm. Now, does he have this base? No. So we know he has this one. So we want to attack that base, and guys, we're going to start doing a really advanced bit of learning here, where we're showing how to set up a push. Now remember, as we move across, Lots of Marauders, lots of Marines. Let's build more depots. I keep scanning ahead here. So I don't see an army. His army's there. Okay. So what are we going to do? Are we going to run forward in a ball and then reactively split like Maru, guys? Are we going to do that? Yeah? Do we? No! We're not Maru! We're in Silver League! Stop trying to play like Maru! So we want to spread... Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to spread our units out. Like that. And then you're going to control click the tanks, tell them to siege, and then what you do is you grab a little chunk of guys and you stim them in. And you go, come and fight me over here, please. And notice, your army's spread, so it's not going to get stormed to death. And look, we've got good map vision, so we can even see him coming. And when this fight happens, all I need to do is select my army, press stim, don't press anything else. Okay, guys? Hands off the mouse and keyboard. Okay, I'll scroll around so we can see what's happening. Whoa! How did my army perform so well? The trick here, guys, is we managed to, oh, let's do another stim since the previous one worked. We managed to hold back the urge to micro our units, which is what we all do, and this is why we as Terran players continually throw games. Okay, in this case, our Marines aren't fighting. All right. We just killed an army. All we had to do was spread, siege up, send a couple of guys in, Slorch with another 50 gifted subs because he likes seeing Protoss players die. And now, what's he got? He's got more units. Oh God. Spread, siege the tank, spread out. Oh, there's a fight. Press stim. Terran versus Protoss. Anytime you're up against a lot of splash damage, guys, this is how you fight, okay? Okay, trust me. And you're like, well, I'm in Diamond. I can do better. No, you can't. Stop it. Stop thinking you're better than you are at the game. Well, I run in a ball. I don't scan ahead. And then after half my army dies from splash damage, I do some panic clicking and boxing. And then my army's dead. And then I go and I tab out to StarCraft Reddit and I complain about balance instead. I'm just like, what are we doing, guys? What are we doing? So, we have developed a system now. Okay, build more Marines and Marauders. And you might be like, but how do I force him? Just leave him there. It doesn't matter. This is annoying. It's his job to come and fight this. If you want, like I said, grab some guys. And then you just run backwards. You say, come and fight me, dude. You gotta keep them separated. That's it. Holy shit, he's got carriers. We're dead. Okay, guys, so he's got carriers. We're going to swap into Marine production. So notice I'm going through my barracks here and the tech labs, and we're going to just pure only Marines now. Obviously, we're taking a bit long. Let's build an armory. Let's build Vikings. Shit. Now, I'm going to show you guys a really advanced tech switch, which I said I wouldn't normally do any tech switches, but in this case, we're going to go for a lot of Thors, because Thors shoot up, shoot down, and they beat the shit out of carriers. Now, there's one thing we have going for us, guys. That's only 3 carriers, and they have no upgrades. What's another thing? Well, he doesn't seem to have much else, right? He's got a bunch of carriers and nothing else. So if he fights me right now, does he actually beat this army is the question. I don't know. I think we'll be fine. So let's go for an attack here. Because we've got 1-1 Marines in a big ball. What is happening? Slorch! Slorch, are you drinking? He says he's sipping scotch. Is it virgin blood or something? What is going on? And guys, you want to build 3 tech labs, and you want to make the attack upgrades for those Thors. Armor's good too. They're both good. Anyways, so we're going to come down here with this army, and when we fight, we're going to keep this really simple, okay, guys? He's got 6 carriers, so we're going to keep scanning for that army, as we always do. Now, I think what we want to do here is we want to actually move back from the edge a little bit, okay, guys? And we're going to scan, make sure we can see. And all we want to do with Marines is stim and attack move. Against carriers, it's all about critical mass. Making sure your Marines are in high enough numbers, and if stim runs out, we'll press it again in a moment. There we go. That you can kill all the interceptors. Now, if we were using Thors and Vikings in large numbers, we would do that very differently, where we would actually shift-click on the carriers, because those are high damage units that shoot very slowly. Vikings and Thors are really bad at actually killing the interceptors. So, like, imagine this was like 10 Vikings, I'd actually bother going like that. I'd just right-click, shift right-click, and they would kill them one at a time. But instead, what we're doing is, notice once the interceptors are dead, the carriers aren't really doing any damage. So a lot of people make the mistake of they use the Marines to try and focus the carriers down. Marines are very short range, low damage units, very good for just killing the interceptors as they launch at you, as long as you have enough Marines. Whereas if they have a lot of splash damage like Storm or something guarding them, that doesn't work, because you A-move your Marines, they get stormed, and then you lose, right? That's why you would want to get out like Thors or something like that, because Thors can just be like, and just kill the carriers. I thought Thors one-shot interceptors, says Matazola. They definitely don't. I think they 3-shot. It would be 2-shot once they have some upgrades, I believe. I think maybe they can upgrade enough to 2-shot. They're new damage. But either way, you're better off killing the carriers. They wreck carriers super hard. So that's going to be cool. Upgrades are really important, guys. So if we got like 2-2 as well, we would have wrecked even more. If those carriers were 2-2 and we were only 1-1, we probably would have lost those fights if they actually had better upgrades than us, which they didn't. So that worked out pretty well. But guys, once again, anytime you're dealing with an army that has a lot of splash damage, Storm, lots of Banelings, you set up outside of a base. You don't even have to be in range, like I said, and then you just grab a few units. If you want a medevac with them, that's cool. And you just run in.
Let's go.
You're like, yeah, and then when they come at you, you just click it back, and then when the fight happens, select army, stim, and then resist the urge to A-move. Because the moment you A-move, look at what happens. The moment you give a right-click, look at what happens. They're clumped up for the splash. So, what if I can't spread that well, Pig? Take your time. Box click. Box click. Box click. Box click. That's it. The problem most players have is not that they can't do that, it's that they see enemy units and they panic and they A-move. And they undo all of their APM that they just put into that. So that's going to be really nice. Guys, please shout out every and any question you have, criticism, all of it. It's all about having an ongoing discussion. StarCraft's a very highly competitive game with 1,000 different approaches to it. We are currently at Silver 2 right now, guys. So we'll see how we go. We're just going to keep on kind of working through. So someone said, hey, what if they don't fall for your bait with the setup? Well, it's not a trick. It's not a trick. That is just what a push looks like, right? So, well, what if they don't fight into you? Then you just keep moving your units forward in little sections. And you can, because especially if you have tanks, you can start getting a tank in range, and your bio that you send forward can just start picking off units. So if your opponent doesn't deal with it, at some point they're gonna just be having a tank shelling on a base. You're gonna get in range of them. There's gonna be a lot of different things going on. You know, it's gonna be really one of these things where it's like they have to fight it. And at the same time, you've got a giant army building at home. So you can either reinforce that army or you could attack on a different angle with that army. Both great things that you can do to kind of just, you know, make it work. Were there any other questions there that I missed? I'm sorry for so much support coming through, so it's hard for me to catch up with the criticism of that. Okay, I should know this. How do you send those units to Group 0? So we just made it so, go back to the start of the VOD. After the very first game today, I went through all the mechanics. So make sure you check that. Basically, all we did was we set it up so Control 0, or in this case, Control Alt 0, is actually just tilde. So it's a one button to add and steal onto Control Group 0. So basically that key to the left of number 1 is just a dumping key. And we set that up at the very start of the stream. So all I need to do is I can just press that and bam, the unit's stolen into oblivion. All right, guys, we're up against Mark, the random player. We're playing on Pride of Altaris, which, yes, you can siege tanks on this ledge. And let's do it. All right, so we queue up SCVs. We build a depot. We're gonna hotkey that that worker there. We're gonna set the rally point back. Keep queuing up SCVs. How do I beat disruptors? I master one and I can't beat it. Only sometimes. If you have enough tanks or liberators, then you can push through them, but otherwise usually just multi-pushing and multi-dropping, or getting a big surround of their army is the way at high levels. It really obviously depends on what style you're playing and what situation. But in general, siege armies are much easier to use to push through splash damage than other sorts of armies. So we're going to send this worker down there to scout and then hide behind the natural to see if they've expanded. Same as always, guys. Oh, look at this, guys. We're putting on gas just before it finishes. How pro is that? We're getting better. We're doing little details slowly. All right, I haven't set up my camera locations, though. So 3rd base, 4th base, 5th base, and the rally point. And this guy is going to mine 5 minerals. Now, why do we mine the 5 minerals? Because basically you just don't have the 400 minerals available. Why? Because we're going to spend reactor, orbital. So basically, he's going to be waiting anyway. The only reason we do this, you don't need to do this. People are like, why do pros do that? He's going to be hanging around waiting for a little bit anyway. He might as well get 5 minerals while he waits. Is it important? Not in the slightest. It's 5 minerals, guys. It does not matter. Just as you get higher level, you might as well do it. So we add to control group, we double tap it, we center that camera location once the base is taken, right? We now build a depot, start SCVs and mules, and we'll start Marines as soon as that reactor's finished, right? Oh no! Our scout's dying! Okay. So our opponent is going to be annoying and try to kill him. He's got a forge. Okay, that's interesting. So guys, we're going to do a full loop of the main. So this is going to keep scouting the expansion and seeing what our opponent's up to. Build more Marines, build more SCVs. So notice we can go main base, natural base. Main base, natural base. Just check everything's okay. Does this look all good? Let's lower that depot so we can easily move around. And you know what? He did build cannon, a forge, right? So I'm just going to go down here and just... Are you building cannons outside my base? Is this another one of these games? I don't really think it is. Let's do it and continue the build. Build 2 barracks. Queue them back to the minerals. Take your gas. Keep building SCVs. Okay. Now, control-click the barracks. Add those to that barracks control group. So Shift 5. Set the rally point. These should be deep muscle memory habits, guys. Grab the Marines, put them all on a hotkey, set the rally point, put guys on gas, orbital time, and check it out, guys. We're basically saturated here, especially with those guys going back to mining. That'll be 17. So we can set the rally point there, drop mule, keep building SCVs, keep building Marines, and not just that. It's a Nexus. Now, very advanced read. This player is playing Skytoss, guys. If your opponent is building a forge and not attacking you, they're almost always playing Skytoss. Okay, guys?
Command center.
Why? Because they're totally. Not always, but once I saw the extra gas, I knew, what are you doing that's so gas heavy? And I came in here, I see the 2 targets. So we're going to actually get a very specific scenario here. So what do we do? Okay, Pig, what do we do? I need to know how to beat it. Do the exact same thing you normally do. So this is the secret to becoming a really high-level StarCraft player, guys. Change nothing. Ignore what your opponent's doing. Okay? Now, you know what? Maybe we will make one adjustment. One adjustment. Let's start something. We're not going to build Marauders. We'll just build Marines. Okay, guys? That's the only change. Only change is we won't build Marauders. We'll still build tanks, Marines, medevacs, exact same build order. If you start going, oh, I'm going to make 3 Starport Viking without actually knowing how to make that transition work, shit's not going to go well, guys. So anyways, SCVs and mules, build Marines. I think I accidentally queued 1 Marauder, that's fine. And then depots. So Bruce gets a depot. Now we're on 3 barracks production, so Gary really should come and help out. So we're going to have 2 depot builders from now. And then what do we do in between macro cycles? Starport and reactor. Add those to the control group. Get the engineering bay if we want it. Yeah, we can get a nice upgrade. And then, time for another macro cycle. Mule, SCVs. And then Marines. Oh, we don't even have money for Marines, guys. Oh, no, that's fine. Look, they're already all queued up. Queue up a few more Marines there. And then the depots. And we don't have the money for the depots. That's good. If you're having to wait to get the money for things, I mean, that's fantastic. That just means you're keeping your money low. And that's a good metric to see how well you're doing. Okay, guys? So if you're ever floating a lot of money and it's never going down, you definitely can kind of increase the speed that you're doing things, or you can increase the sort of rate at which you're batching things up. So if you're queuing like 2 Marines at a time, maybe you should be queuing 6 Marines at a time. If you're queuing 2 SCVs per base, maybe we can queue 3. Look, I got 700 minerals. Let's queue 3 or 4 per base. Let's queue up like 8 or 9 Marines. And now we'll queue up 2 medevacs as well. And let's make sure all this is rallied to the front. And we got to queue 2 depots, and we could even queue 2 more depots, right? So the trick is, if I'm floating 1,000 minerals right now, guys, I don't just build 2 depots, I build 4 or 5. So what are we doing? So most players, when they're floating money, they start bouncing between build 1 marine, build a tank, build an SCV. No. It's build more at once. Keep sticking to your macro cycle. That's what allows you to be efficient and just build more things. That's all you need to do, okay? Okay, guys, we've got the medevacs out, so time to move across the map. Let's be lazy, because we haven't really been sending scouts out. Okay, no third base yet. It's going to be hard to bust that ramp, but let's give it a go. While we're moving across, guys, what do? More barracks. More marines, more tanks, more medevacs, more... do we need more SCVs? We definitely don't need more SCVs. We can take the gases, put a few back in there. Get some depots. Okay. Add these to the control group. And remember, we're about to go for an attack. So before we commit to the micro over here, the last thing we do, hold down that marine key, that tank key, that medevac key. Hold it down. Make sure we spend every last bit of money because we are about to tunnel vision on what we're doing here. That's a lot of void rays. Can we beat that? I don't even know if we have enough to beat that, guys. So we're going to stim and A move, and we want to move underneath because void rays have shorter range than ours. And that's going to be game because void rays are very bad versus TERRAN. If he had a lot of cannons and batteries, my opponent might have been able to make this happen. We see another player who's built... Actually, those cannons kind of make sense. They're there to defend drops, but nothing at the front is a big problem. Now, I don't need to fight those cannons, right? So let's just clear the Nexus and move up in. Select the barracks and just hold down the marine key, hold down the tank key, hold down the medevac key, and then we can kill there as well. If there was a bunch of cannons at the front, that would not have worked, guys. That shouldn't or should not have, but it worked out. Okay, once again, guys, bronze cannons. What? Can someone tell me what these cannons are supposed to defend? What is this about? Why does everyone do that? This one makes sense because it's zoning out the edge of the map for drops. Your opponent could drop here or harass from here. They could kill your whole mineral line without going in range of the cannons. It's so dumb. Don't do this. Please, do me a favor. Never do this. Guys, if you want to build cannons, you put 1 in the mineral line. It doesn't slow down your mining that much. If you want to zone out the edges, cannon there, cannon there. Cannons on the edges is fine. This is just absolutely ridiculous. It's there for Widowmine drops, and also when people drop 2 tanks and 8 marines behind the mineral line. They're emotional support guys. I don't like them so... They piss me off. Static defense in general is a crutch you want to get away from, but those ones especially do my head in, where I'm like, stop putting them there! They're so bad! So we still stuck to the build there, and we saw that just efficiently building a lot of marines crushed our opponent. Okay, guys? Now, is that always going to happen? If your macro is too bad, no. No. Definitely, we could engage in a little bit more strategy, but... The way I see it is people are making so many mistakes with just getting supply block, not building workers, not building units. We're going to naturally engage in more strategy as we develop, as we go forwards. But it's something where at this stage, I'm hoping these players can progress. I'm hoping they can do it. How do you check your MMR? If you just click on your profile in the top right. It'll show up right here. You can go through your different races. So we're almost at Silver 1, guys. We're almost there. Put pig in the hot tub. Oh, thank you, Trainwreck. Is an early cyclone for early air better than turrets? Well, I mean, if you're doing this build, you don't need either. You've got marines. Just split your marines between your 2 mineral lines and you'll be safe. Yeah. Then you can add a turret there for sure. But we don't need a cyclone at all. Obviously, a cyclone's more mobile than turrets. I mean, if you were planning to open up with a cyclone or turrets because you have very few marines with your build, I'd probably prefer the cyclone. But obviously, like, it could get killed a bit easier than turrets. It's totally up to you, really. Pig, I'm in Diamond 2. For TVP, I do a 3x Marine timing push. What's a nice follow-up to that push if it isn't successful? If I don't win with my initial push, I find myself falling behind and losing to a death ball. There's a lot of really solid build orders for 3x, Muchaho. So I always get +1 attack very early with my 3x build orders that you see me do on my stream, so that I actually have +1 finishing with stim and shields for my first push. And that allows me to have +1 armor starting immediately. I make sure my factory starts no later than 4:30, preferably about 4:20, as well as the second and third gas at 4 minutes. That allows me to get medevac transition, to add the medevacs, drop a third base, keep SCV production, and to just kind of move through, you know, as long as I pick my fights correctly, it's all good. Now, obviously, the main thing there is you're probably just headbutting, right? Sometimes it wins, sometimes it doesn't. If you're doing a timing attack or any aggressive play, and this is especially important as Terran, but it's important for all races, what do you want to do? You want to, as you get better at a build, learn yes or no. What do I mean by learn yes or no? I mean pattern recognition. I mean, if you see 2 Colossus and a bunch of sentries and a shield battery, turn around with your Marines. Go home. There's no reason for you to push in there, you know? And maybe you beeline towards more Marauder production, second starport, more Vikings after just 2 or 3 medevacs, you know, that sort of thing, right? And then you keep that whole army alive. A lot of players make the mistake, they're like, my attack either works or it doesn't. And I'm like, are you always committing to the attack? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, why aren't you scanning ahead and checking their army as you're going in? And then pulling back if it's a bad fight. Because those units are so valuable if you keep them alive for a later, better fight. But if you throw them all away, it's going to be really inefficient. So these are the sort of things that you want to be weighing up as you get higher level. And in general, you start learning a build, you always commit just stupidly to the push, right? You just say, just commit no matter what. Still do the scan to get in the habit of it, but you always commit, right? Don't second guess yourselves, guys. If you're learning this build that I'm doing, always commit with those first 2 medics in the bio. Always stim, always A move. You can learn after the results because the game will show you whether it was right or wrong. So it'll help lead you to the conclusions. Too many players are too paralyzed by fear. They're afraid of making the wrong decisions. So they're constantly like, nah, there's a tank, I can't do it. And I'm like, dude, you have like 4 Marauders and 30 Marines. Just go. Don't be a pussy. So if you're not willing to take those risks, it's going to be harder for you to learn. So the important thing is to embrace making mistakes. As long as you rewind after that mistake in the game, you go, yeah, this was a bad idea because it was a tiny choke point. There was 2 tanks, a bunker. This was not a good push. I should have been more patient in this scenario. But start to build that sort of visual memory bank so that you can say to yourself, oh, I know when to commit and I know when to pull back. And this is something you're always evolving. This is why pro players can fight in 3 places on the map at once and know exactly when to attack and when to just run away, when to engage, when to disengage. It's because their pattern recognition, their mental bank of going through all those situations, they're very quick to identify bad fight, good fight, good fight, bad fight, good fight, bad fight. They can do that instantly. You just show them. They recognize bad fight, good fight. So as a player, when you're developing in StarCraft, you're slowly building that experience and that pattern recognition to know what's good and bad. So that's a good way of doing it. Is in-game sound critical? How do you feel about cranking the tunes while you play? Oh, I mean, I wouldn't listen to a podcast. Hells no. Definitely you can have music on, but you do need in-game sound. You need both. If you don't have in-game sound, you will miss some things. Nidus worms and nukes being the most extreme examples. You can hear like a DT attacking you and stuff. Yeah, lots of things. How do you swap between starport and factory on the same key? Great question. So that's a really good question, actually. So the way that one works is I actually use the side mouse buttons on my mouse. These the little guys. I use these guys as tab forward and tab back. I've customized that. The default is just tab. So my factory, a lot of people will go barracks, factory, starport, all on the same key. And they'll just be like build bio, tab, build tank, tab, build medevac, that sort of thing. JRB, Jones with the Prime Gaming, EKG with the 6 months, Kenton Brad, Ragnar with the 18 months, says, I leave for a bit, Exile 5 _ pig is a commander playing Silver League, having Normie. That's me! I'm a normie now, Ragnar. We smurfy smurf for the content. Yeah, I regularly do drama update streams and videos and all of that stuff. Bitcoin's at an all-time high today. Really? I had no idea. Oh, damn, that's crazy. All right, guys, set up those camera locations. I don't even know where I want my bases to go. 3rd, 4th, 5th, I guess. These new maps. Make sure you choose an expansion pattern you like, guys. 64.5 US. Oh, damn. Is there a training map for spotting observers and nukes? Chat, let us know if there is. I have no idea. But I wouldn't say it's the most priority skill set. I still suck at spotting observers. I still suck at spotting nukes. With nukes, it's much easier if you have camera locations because you can just jump between your bases like that. Otherwise, you're just scrolling around. But nukes are hard. It's pretty rare you play against nukes though, so I think it's okay. Anyway, guys, let's actually talk about the basics, okay? Let's not just play StarCraft. Let's talk StarCraft, okay? So remember, we stopped at 19. Why? Orbital reactor. And remember, guys, control group 1, Army 1, Army 2. Now, those are control groups that will get superseded very soon, but this allows me to so easily double tap 1, double tap 2, and that's good practice because that's how you move around. Now, we add to the control group, we double tap to center it, we remake the camera location. After we build the command center, we build the depot, and we shift queue it back to mining. We drop mule, we queue SCVs, and we want that barracks rally point on the high ground. And what do we see, guys? Buildings in the base. So that's all we need to check. And then have we queued him to hide? Okay, he should hide behind the natural. What are we going to do? Marines, SCVs. Remember, we wait for 300 minerals so we can build our next 2 barracks. That's next. Thank you, Jaybird. Thank you so much for the 4-month resub. Sorry if I've missed people's shoutouts today, guys. There's so much to talk about and teach. And I just find it really hard to kind of keep up with it. And look, I'm under attack. Oh, no. Well, that's okay, guys. I can tell this guy to circle, and maybe I get to see when that Nexus comes down. And I do! Awesome. So very valuable scouting info. Now, if I just lost that SCV, that's okay. Not the end of the world. I'd just put a standard bunker down at 330 just to be safe. And I'd keep doing my build. Most important thing is your build. Don't tunnel vision on that stuff. Okay, guys? More SCVs. Let's control click the barracks, add them to number 5, and set the rally point. Build more Marines. Make an orbital. Put that SCV there. And you'll notice, remember, when can we set the rally point? Because I want to set that rally point down here, guys. Well, those 2 guys are going to go on mining, so why not just do it now? Then we can go Marines, SCVs. I accidentally built a Marine there. You got to be careful, guys. We need to go 2 tech labs. So if you screw that up, cancel the Marine. Build those tech labs on time, okay?
Command center upgrade complete.
SCVs, mules, Marines. And guess what, guys? It's time for depots. And we're actually going to build a wall. I haven't been playing any Zerg, but if you're playing against Zerg, you want to build a wall, and it's up to you against Protoss. Against Terran, you don't want to because they have tanks and stuff, so a wall doesn't really do much for you. Wall's there to help you out if you've got the short-ranged army. So let's go stim, combat shields. Remember, what else happens when with depots? We're past 35 supply, so it's time to get a factory. So if this factory you actually think of as more of like a 40 supply thing when you're starting, totally fine, guys. SCVs, Marines, Mule, Depot. And Gary's going to wall off that whole base. Okay. Now we're going to control group the factory. And remember, this SCV, we're going to build the starport above it. So we rallied him there. And we can build Marauders, Marines, 2 Marauders, 4 Marines, more SCVs, and another depot. Now notice we're both supply blocked and out of money. So this tells us 2 things. Number 1, we're macroing well. Number 2, Gary needs a friend. Gary and Bruce making depots for life. Gary and Bruce. Yeah. Yeah, Gary and Bruce is fun. More SCVs, more mules, 2 more Marauders, but we don't have money. Oh no! Okay, guys, we're 8 moved our army. We're going to box our SCVs and run them away and then shift-click them back on the minerals, okay? So that's a trick, guys. Whenever you're getting harassed and you have to pull workers away, do that. Now, at this point, what if he comes back in?
Complete.
We're going to do box the Marines, alt, onto our second army group, put them there. Everything else, here. So these are the 2 important areas to defend, the main base and the natural. And look at that, guys. He's coming in, as expected. Oh my god, we just took a lot of damage. What do we do? First thing is swap. No! This is where everyone goes, swap add-ons. Don't you fucking dare. Macro cycle. Every time you get distracted, macro cycle. SCVs, mules. Put guys back on gas using that deselecting trick. There we go. Build more Marines, build more Marines, build more depots. So what do we do there? Well, we just did a macro cycle. Once you've done a big macro cycle, notice, because I'd floated so much money, I queued like 8 SCVs, tons of Marines. So we do a mega macro cycle if we've been very distracted. Then we can focus on everything else, okay? So what else do we do next? Well, we build barracks, we build an engineering bay. We keep building. Oh, look, that base is oversaturated, guys. So let's put these guys back up here. And he killed 2 SCVs building those, so that's fine. So notice here, guys, when you're building buildings, just make sure you click them on both and then shift click them back. And we've got the eBay, right? So that's going to be nice in a little bit. Keep building SCVs, gases, Marines, tank, medevacs. And when that's finished, if your opponent's done air harass, that is when you build missile turrets, okay? Now, if you want to be super pro, you can build turrets on the edges. We're just going to do, actually, just the most standard. One turret in the middle of most mineral lands. Okay? Notice it's not against the minerals. It's not against the command center. So the SCVs will just move freely around it. It will very minorly impact mining. Almost not at all. Okay? Now, Gary and Bruce built the wall, and then we got distracted. So we need Gary, Bruce, and Jennifer. They're going to become our non-stop depot builders, okay? And we've got 2 more barracks. Add to control group, tech lab, reactor, marauders, tanks, marines, everything. And at this point, guys, we're going to click that F2 button. Bring our army together because we've got turrets covering, okay? Get +1 attack, get concussive. We've got a pretty good army here. Let's just make sure we've queued up more depots. Queued up lots more marines. And let's go for this attack, okay?
Now what?
Set the rally points. Notice these units are all just sitting around. Rally points. Okay, let's go. Oh, look at this. The missile turret defends. Can A move at him if we want.
Add-on complete.
There's a 3rd base, so let's attack that 3rd base, okay? Awesome. What do we do while we're moving out? Let's control click the depots and lower them. More marines, more marauders, more tanks.
Ready for dust off.
We just macro, guys. And as we arrive, remember we've A moved to a grouping rally point. What do I call this? Like a preparation zone. And we don't know what he's going for still. So I'm still like, what is he going for? So you know what we're going to do, guys? We're going to grab a marine. We're going to stim him in over here. And we're going to press tilde. Remember, we just pressed tilde to dump him. Ooh, okay. Let's go. Let's A move, guys. Oh, my army's fighting the Nexus. That's not good. There we go. So we kind of pulled back to group my army together a bit. And we're just A moving. I don't think there's any real micro needed. You'll notice almost all my units are shooting. Just do another stim. You'll see there's a little orange lightning bolt above the Marines when stim runs out. Just look for that. That tells you need to stim again, okay? Behind this, it looks like we're not going to kill everything, guys. Oh, no! 1 Void Ray on 10 hit points. Doesn't matter. So what are we doing? We're swapping to pure Marines. No Marauders, because there's Void Rays for a little bit. More tanks, more medevacs. And we can... Look at that. 17 there, only 13 here. So why not move a few down? Now, this is a point where we could expand. We could... No! Expanding is good. Don't get me wrong, guys. We'll start +1 armor, though. We'll check. Do we have all the upgrades? Nope. Just Marines, tanks, medevacs. And I think this is a big enough army to go again. What do you guys think? Let's go. So we're going to attack that same angle again. I don't like the way those guys were kind of clumping around the corner, which is why I kind of moved them there. All right. So we're going to move them to the same spot. And what are we doing? Tanks, medevacs, Marines. And if we did have a command center, a 2nd engineering bay and armory, that's how we would make a transition. But we are keeping things simple. We are trying to go all in. Marauders good for slowing the zealots down. Yeah, having a few marauders mixed in is not bad. Marines are actually better at killing zealots, but if my opponent gets splash damage out, Marines will be a lot worse. So Marines are a lot better because they kill the zealots way quicker. Having some marauders in front is nice, and usually just having that kind of mix of 3 marauders to every 4 Marines, that sort of thing, is kind of okay, or something similar to that. Just because the marauders tank, the Marines do damage, it gives you that flexibility of a little bit of tankiness combined with, you know, higher damage. If you're all marauders, you literally can't kill zealots. Like, it just takes forever. But if you're all Marines, you're really weak to splash damage. So this is why normally, and we're doing this in every matchup because it's a friendlier composition for a beginner. That's why we go reactor, then 2 tech labs, and then a tech lab and a reactor. So every cycle, 3 marauders and 8 Marines. So 3 marauders, 8 Marines, 3 marauders, 8 Marines. Now, I don't actually count it. I just tap the key a bunch of times, guys. Don't get me wrong. But like I said, if I was like, ooh, I'm worried there might be a bit too much air, I'll do 1 cycle there, which was like just Marines, and then I go back to the normal Marauder swap. Makes you wonder, what was that guy doing the whole time? He built a pretty good army, guys. I just had more. My opponent spent a lot of money on Void Rays. Did really good Oracle micro, but was probably mismacroing pretty badly behind it as well. My opponent actually played really well. I'm really impressed. It's just I had a critical mass in that first fight, guys. My opponent was not ready for such an attack timing. So my opponent if we want to explain what my opponent kind of did wrong, it's like, well, yeah, he did some good Oracle harass, but he actually didn't macro as well as me. He's just down on workers, right? And he tries to go for a little bit too much diverse tech. What do I mean by that? I mean, my opponent went 2 Stargate Void Rays. We've already talked about how Void Rays are a noob unit, which are useless versus TERRAN, essentially. So Void Rays, waste of money. Now, if my opponent actually just made charge and lots of gateways and lots of zealots, that would be not bad against this army at all. All the Stalkers are one of the lowest value units in the game. Building a few Stalkers just to have something that shoots up is not the worst thing in the world. But if you're building Void Rays, they already do that job. And so you've got 2 units that suck at raw damage hit points for their stats, the Void Rays and the Stalkers. The Oracles aren't useful in a frontal fight. So what happened is my opponent went in too many different directions for units that just weren't that efficient and simply had less stuff. Look at the supply. That's all that happened, guys. We just built a lot more stuff. Why? Because I knew exactly what I was doing at each point of the game. Was my opponent smurfing? No, not at all. This is pretty standard gold play, guys. I think I'm getting matched against gold players here. Why would you think he's smurfing? So people in chat were saying he's smurfing. I did see that while I was playing. Is that because of the Oracle micro? Is that why you guys said that? So this is a classic example of people going, oh, they're smurfing. There's not that many smurfs on the ladder. Just because something does one thing well doesn't mean they're a smurf. They're probably fucking everything else up. Yeah. Yeah, there's people out there who will do really advanced units. It doesn't mean they're an advanced player. Yeah. Just because his Oracle micro was pretty good, don't get me wrong. But I'm pretty sure he was mismacroing during it, right? So we can watch. Where is all the cheese in the lower leagues? I encountered so many. So the issue you had forever gold player is the issue most people have in StarCraft is basically I've defended a few cheeses just with a normal build order, right? I defended a cannon rush and a cannon contain. There's also been a bunch of people that probably would have massed Void Rays and flown in and started killing my bases. And most players would have gone, oh man, I got cheesed by mass Void Ray. But I'm just moving across and killing my opponent before my opponents can pull out any fancy stuff. So first things first, these Oracles could have hit more than a minute ago, guys. Number 1. Number 2, they're diving into a micro situation without queuing up probes. They queued up probes on only one Nexus, not the other one. So this is exactly what I just said. Wouldn't a Smurf have not built Void Ray? I don't even care about the Smurf discussion is honestly a waste of time, guys. You've got to get this Smurf business out of your minds. It's not worth talking about how to identify a Smurf. You guys don't know enough to figure it out. You just won't be able to figure it out. And it's honestly, even if you run into one, just focus on what you can do better is the most... All right, guys. So that was a good little game there where once again, what time did we hit? Let's start teaching some replay skills really quickly. Benchmark. Okay, guys? So, like I said, don't worry about is your opponent Smurf, are they this, are they that? Remember the key things we take away from this game. This was a point in the game where something happened which was unexpected. I hadn't dealt with it before. It's really important to recognize what you can do better for next time. Number 1, if we put a depot there and a depot down here, we might get earlier warning. So that's a good habit we could make. Okay, spotting depots would give us earlier warning. That's one thing. More importantly, what is the split-second decision? You cannot be going, what do I do? But as you develop as a StarCraft player, you're going to encounter thousands of scenarios where you go, shit, I haven't seen this one before. It's really important. Try to pull together a response and be confident and then keep macroing and stuff like I did. But let's try and rewind the replay, go to that point and go, okay, this is me going, oh shit, my mineral line's under assault. And think of it as a program that you can execute next time you're in this scenario. This is a very simple program, guys. Step 1, pull SCVs. Step 2, A move bio. If my bio is not on a control group, I have to go to my control group, box it, A move it, add to control group 2, and then I can box the SCVs and queue them to go back to minerals. In my case, I did it the other way. I went, oh, box the army, add to control group, A move it. Then I box the SCVs, move them there, shift click back to minerals. The important thing is I can just, bam, do that next time I'm in that scenario. Bam! do that scenario. So that's that thing. The next thing, guys, is when it settles down. So after he comes in, notice I was already preparing for the next wave, which is very predictable, which is another oracle could come in here. He could split 2 oracles up, and this area are the most important. So what did I do at this point, guys? I then went box half the Marines, steal them onto a different control group, and split them up, right?
Complete.
Remember, I did that here. I boxed half the Marines, and I put them in my main mineral line, and the main control group moved down to the natural mineral line.
Add-on
Program.
complete.
And then it's tempting to try and fix my macro and do all these other things. Notice I'm not spending my money at all. And it's tempting to put guys back on gas. It's tempting to swap add-ons. It's tempting to start add-ons that upgrades that I've forgotten. All of those things are tempting, and they're all traps. Because I've already spent about a minute not building SCVs and Marines. So remember, whenever you get distracted, the first thing you do is a macro cycle, okay? You want to have at least 4 Marines to beat an Oracle, guys. 4 Marines to beat an Oracle. So if there's 2 Oracles like that, you want to have at least 8 Marines in a clump. So what did I do? I went macro cycle. SCVs, I queued up 8 SCVs. I dropped every mule I could. I should be building Marines as well. So even I broke my rule a little bit there. And then I build Marines. And then I build depot. So we're like, okay, we're back on track with our macro. Now I can swap the buildings around. Now I can add upgrades. And I can do all that stuff for 10, 15 seconds. And then I want to do another macro cycle, right? And this is the number one thing people miss in high pressure scenarios. When they deal with a bit of harassment that throws them off, they go, oh, where was I in my build? No. Do your macro cycle. So then you've got the fundamentals going. You're building depots, you're building fighting units, you're building SCVs, you drop mules. If you have those 3 things happening, it's okay if you forgot an upgrade and that's going to be delayed a bit. It doesn't matter.
Complete.
Nearly as much as keep the engine rolling. If you stop all that, everything grinds to a halt. Isn't it 6 Marines without shields and 4 with shields per Oracle? No. Oracles used to do a lot more damage, I think. They used to 2-shot Marines and now they 3-shot them. So I'm not sure on the exact... I think 4 Marines beats an Oracle, right, guys? I'm pretty sure. I think 3 loses, but it's a pretty close fight. You guys can confirm in chat if anyone knows. And obviously it depends if the Marines are clumped up or not. If they're a bit spread out, Oracle can do a little bit better. But I believe 4 Marines beats an Oracle. And you still have 2 Marines left at the end, I think. One of them very weak. I'm not sure. It's pretty close. Yeah.
Ready for dust off.
Hey, this replay, you have an engineering bay, but you didn't start upgrades straight away. Is that intentional? We've just got more important things to focus on. If we remembered to do it, we would have. But we were trying to focus on those macro cycles. So I would be like, swap the starport. Oh shit, time for another macro cycle. SCVs, mules, Marines, depots, they were the priority, right? And then in between those, I'd be like, ooh, start shields, start +1. Ooh, get extra barracks. Because those are all the extra build order things that are on a lower level of priority, right? And they're good. It would have been good to start it. That was the whole point of the engineering bay. But it just wasn't a priority. Getting our SCV production, our bio production, everything back in there goes really well. The Oracle kills in 3 shots anyway. It shouldn't make a difference. Oracles used to kill Marines in 2 shots, I believe, back in the day. So that's why... So it used to make a difference, I believe. You're just thinking of probably a previous state of balance, Guardian Wisp. All right, guys, sweet as. I think we learned a lot from that, but that's the important thing. Looking at a replay, program, chaotic situation, what's my priorities? Program, harassment comes in, what do I do to deal with that? How do I cover against the next wave? And then I can free up my attention to focus back on the economy. It's huge. These are the things you never stop doing as a StarCraft player. So it's one of those things where a lot of players, they over-focus on the other areas where they're like, oh, no, it's got to be like, I got to fucking, do all this other fancy stuff and I got to do this or that or this thing's hard. And it's like, just open the replay and program a response rather than obsessing over, oh my God, Oracle Harass is so good. How do I defend Oracle Harass? Usually the answer in StarCraft is pretty simple. If you've already got like a good solid basis, like we're making bio out of 3 racks and then adding medevacs on tanks, like this is a solid basis that we're working on. So you don't need, usually it's not about how do I change the entire build and mix things up. Usually it's something much simpler, right? All we're focusing on is like how to get the units in the right position and then continue my build order despite the distractions coming my way. Whereas people are like, oh, I need to build Vikings because there's Oracles. I'm like, no, you don't. Just get your Marines in position, covering the mineral lines. You can add some turrets later when you want to move out. You'll be fine. So don't overcomplicate things. Look for the smallest possible response. Remember, it's more about how can I keep my focus on the right things? How can I get my pieces in the right place at the right time? That's more important. Guys, where is the Terran versus Zerg? I'm surprised I'm not running into any Zerg rushes or anything. Yeah, it's lots of TVT. Interesting. I think I chose US West as the server that I wanted to get as much as possible. Anyways, guys. All right, guys. So when we get Gold League, by the way, I'm going to shift focus a little bit to, or maybe Platinum, to Mech. I'm not sure if I should do all of Gold or all of Plat as Mech. Maybe I should stick it out with Bio and then start multi-pro, like do some drops or do some, like mix in some other stuff. Maybe go a bit more drop focused. And then wait until Plat. I think I'll do maybe Plat. I'll teach Mech. Anyways. For now, guys, let's just do the standard build order. Let's go barracks, and then you go down there. You get the gas, and of course, grab an SCV. We go, you go, do, and then hide behind the base. And remember, Army 1, Army 2. Not a very good army this early on, but allows us to double tap. Double tap 1, double tap 2. Double tap 1, double tap 2. Remember, these don't correspond. Put 2 guys on gas, and we want to build 1 more SCV so it goes up to 19 supply, remember? Now we haven't set up our camera location, so Control F2, Control F3, Control F4, and Control F5, and this is Control F6. Beautiful. Oh, that's terrible, Nala, man. That's awful, dude. Oh, my opponent walled off. Okay, that's fine. That's fine, guys. We're just going to hide behind the expansion. We're not making any responses. Okay? Now we're going to add to the control group, double tap, remake the camera location, set the rally point. We then build a depot in the wall, and remember, queue it back to the minerals. Build SCV, build mule. And we want to just have the Marines just rallied here. Build Marines. Build SCVs, build SCVs. Just chilling, guys. You know what? I might put him just there, just on the edge, so we can see when the command center goes down on the minimap without... Hopefully he doesn't check there when he moves down. Let's see. Guys, so we're waiting for 300 minerals. That's just what we always do. Queue up an extra SCV. Always keep an extra SCV queued. What are we going to do? Second and third barracks.
Yes, sir.
And we queue them back to the minerals. We then control click the barracks, add those to the barracks key, set the rally point, queue 2 more Marines, more SCVs. And what do we do after the barracks are down? We take that gas. All right, so our opponent, guys, has not expanded. This is the point where when we get higher level, we might have done reactions. For now, we don't care. Don't even think about it. Focus on your build. Drop mules, build more SCVs. Let's put 2 SCVs on there. Set the rally points to the natural. Keep building Marines. Let's put these guys on a control group. And just keep building SCVs and Marines here. And of course, what are we waiting for? 2 tech labs.
Command center upgrade complete.
All right. Oh, look, we've got our natural finish now. So lots of SCVs, lots of Marines. And guys, we're past 35 supply. What do we do at 35 supply? Gary can build a depot up there before coming to build the rest in the normal spot.
Add-on
And we've got a factory that's going to go down as well. All right, check it out. Barracks finished. So we go stim, shields, and lots of Marines. Well, you know what? Actually, let's just do a macro cycle for the Marines. Now that we've got all our production up, right? So we want to queue a bunch of SCVs, then Marines, which we don't have the money for. Our opponent, guys, it's 3:30. Oh, shit. Opponent's still on 1 base, so we should have built this bunker a little bit ago. Build the Marines, drop the mules, and where's the depot? Alright, so let's get Bruce over there to hang out with Gary. So we're going to have 2 depot builders. And then we're looking alright. So, guys, let's also put some scouts out, okay? So let's dump by using that tilde key. And we're even going to send some Marines out to the corners of the map, okay? And actually, rather than Marines, let's build. So I just went Cancel, cancel. Let's build Marauders. All right. SCVs, mules, Marines, Marauders, and then depots.
What's the big job, huh?
So we're just waiting for the money there. We didn't have the money at first. And we want to go for the other things, guys. Starport plus reactor. Those always go together, so they time out. You'll see starport 36 seconds, reactor 36 seconds. Really nice synergy with that.
Research.
Engineering bay goes down. Let's get concussive shells. Time for another macro cycle, guys. Some SCVs, some mules. Check the SCV count. So I think that'll be all the SCVs we need this game. More Marauders, more Marines. We forgot to queue this guy back to there. Let's take the gases. And check it out, guys. We've got a good little army now.
Complete.
And look at our map. Doesn't our map feel better? When your opponent isn't doing anything, and you're like, what's he up to? Doesn't it just feel better when you have this? Oh, so nice.
Let's have a blast.
Get that. Get 2 barracks. Queue them back. Get +1 weapons. Get 2 medevacs. Time for a macro cycle, but remember, we don't need SCVs, so just mules. And then Marauders, Marines, tanks, and then medevacs. And then depots.
In the rear with
Because we're supply blocked, what do we do when we're supply blocked, guys? We make sure to queue up the extra depots ahead of time. So just waiting for the money. There we go. Let's control click the barracks. Add them to our barracks key. Set the rally point.
boy.
And yeah, I think we've got everything we need, right? Just unit production now. Oh my god. Okay, guys, we're going to control click the Marines. We're also going to control shift click on a medevac. Advanced mechanic. I'm going to try to deal with this bad boy. So we want to start a step on him to get everyone on top. Alright, so our opponent
Armed and ready.
is building battle cruisers and nothing else. So he's got bunkers at the front, nothing guarding the main. So this seems like a prime candidate to get Doom drop, doesn't it? So let's only build Marines from here, actually. We've got those barracks. Let's build the SCVs. Let's get +1 there. Let's put guys on gas. Build a few more SCVs and rally them to the main. And we can go 2 reactors because we need things that shoot up, right?
Ready for pickup?
Okay, so we've got our whole army here. And if everything's disorganized, remember guys, even though we're not using the button, we can select F2 just to grab everything.
Ready for dust off.
And what we're going to do,
Ready for dust
as
off.
these medevacs come out, we go 5 medevacs. Ooh, that's a lot. So we're going to move across the map. Now behind this, what are we building? Lots of Marines. Tanks sounds like a good idea, but why would we not want to build tanks? Well, they don't shoot up. So we're going to build Cyclones. They're not the best anti-air, but they're okay. And Vikings, okay? So we're going to go for one big drop. But we're not going to keep building medevacs. We're going to keep building Marines, Cyclones, and Vikings. So it's just everything that shoots up. Why? Because this guy wasn't doing anything but building battle cruisers. He's got double upgrade battle cruisers on the way. We didn't see anything else. Okay. So now, load up your army. And we're going to drop there
Drop
on the
off.
edge. And we're going to tell them to boost. Now remember, we could unload as we move, but we're just doing the basic one.
Here's
Just
your
unload
stuff.
there.
Waiting on you.
And once they're all unloaded, keep it simple. Don't stim before they're unloaded. Now, he's pulling away on the terrain. But when he comes to me, that's when we can move underneath him, right? We're holding down the Marine key on our barracks. Let's pull back with our Marines, because notice he keeps luring us into a choke point. But if I just keep fighting up here in the open, I can always move underneath the battle cruisers to where all my Marines shoot at once, like that. Look at how much damage they do. But the moment I chase him into this choke point, that's where things could get really bad for me. Well played, GG. Very well played to Drooler, who did a very special strategy. And thankfully, the Marines did end up being enough to defend there. Now, that could have got really bad. That was a really, really good game from my opponent, to be honest. I was actually really impressed. Because double bunker at the front, they started building tanks for extra defense, and they were just like, I'm just going to harass with BC, slowly add upgrades, and get this crazy BC count. So remember, guys, what have we uncovered so far? Whether it's against TERRAN and other races, there's 2 ways we can use our army. We can attack the front, or we can pick it all up if they're really focused on the front and drop in the main base. Those are our 2 main options, okay? Those are the 2 things we will use Time and again. Time and again. Yeah, Yamato's not bad on medevacs. Did he actually use it on one of the Marines? Oh, we got a Marauder with it? That's hilarious. Yeah, game time actually equals real time. They fixed that in Legacy of the Void, Zeal. Were there any questions I missed? Please spam them out in chat, guys. GG, I'm Plat 2 Terran. I'm taking things from this. You have a talent for explaining things. A lot of Metal League Terrans don't know about the first option, says AO. Just stack the front. They always drop. I like that. I probably could have busted the front as well, because remember, they only had like 8 Marines and 2 bunkers. So like bunkers are tanky, but if it's just 8 Marines with no tanks behind it or anything, like they don't actually do that much damage. So we probably could have just busted the front as well that game. Medic, thank you so much for the resub, yo. Yeah, battle cruisers look really good versus Marines. If they're able to like work on a ledge where all your Marines are kind of stuck behind each other and the battle cruisers kind of engage and then pull back. So that's what I was trying to stay in the open with the Marines. And it's the same thing if you're using Marines versus carriers or void rays. There's a lot of different scenarios where that kind of rule applies. How do you choose when to go for the Doom drop? Game sense? What if he had the BCs? We would have dropped on top of the BCs. We might have lost a medevac or two. I mean, we were scanning ahead, so we would have tried to drop not right where the BCs were, right? So we always scan ahead. So actually, no, we wouldn't have dropped right on top. If he was there, say he was right on the edge of the main, like we would have just gone around and come into the back of the main or something like that. There's always a way around because he doesn't know where the drops are. So that would have been a good kind of way of doing that. Yeah. I chose it because remember, I was like, wow, there's a battle cruiser. Right after I defended this first battle cruiser, I scanned both of his bases, remember? And I just looked, and all I saw nothing. There was no buildings. He's already going battle cruisers, which is a massive commitment, but I saw 2 bunkers at the front. So I was like, oh, he has 2 bunkers, but his main didn't have turrets, no tanks. There was nothing in his main. So I was like, oh, this guy's just building battle cruisers. That'll be really scary in a few minutes if I let like him get 2 upgrades and like 8 battle cruisers. But right then I was like, oh, well, I mean, the bunkers, that's a bit of a defensive position. If I just go in the main and avoid those, like all he'll have is his battle cruisers, right? So that takes high level knowledge. That takes experience. You're not going to make that assessment straight away, but with time, with experience, hopefully you can recognize it. Yeah, I got a 4 spawn map. I wish there was a 4 spawn map too. I think it's pretty fun, guys. Did we have upgrades that game? I think +1 attack might have finished. Yeah, I think it had. I don't know if +1 armor had finished. I thought your opponent had like 2 armor. No, he might have barely finished 1-1 at the end of the game. Yeah, not many people play Arkham mode. Is there a good way to remember which direction add-ons go to avoid lifting because they are in the depot wall? It's always on the right side. Yeah. I don't know if there's any way to remember. Right. Is there a rhyme? Does anyone have a rhyme? Add-ons on the right side. Right side add-ons. The add-ons on the right side. I don't know. Someone make a song. I have not a rhyme to remember this. Oh, do you mean which side the units come out? Because units always come out where the rally point is, but no, he was asking about add-ons, I believe, so. Yeah. Good luck, have fun. I like Stoned Ape, man. This is a Joe Rogan listener. The Stoned Ape theory, man.
Sure thing.
You heard about the Stoned Ape theory? No one's Steam sniping you? Yeah, thankfully. I mean, I did have a big explanation about how like it would just make me take longer to get up the leagues the more people stream snipe me. Counterintuitive as that sounds. So we go barracks, and then what do we do after the barracks? We take a gas. We then take an SCV, and we go 1 waypoint. Why do we do the waypoints like this? So we want to come in and not go through the mineral line because we could die if we do that, okay? That's the reason I always do that, guys. And remember, main army, second army. If you're a Zerg, you often do that with your... So if you're a Zerg, you do that with your overlords, your first 2 overlords. You'll have army 1, army 2. It's a good habit, guys. Just get used to double tap 1, double tap 2. Main camera, natural camera, third camera, Like, if you're not using the camera locations, make sure you're really good about those control groups, right? If you're using the camera locations, maybe you're not as focused on that. Take it one thing at a time. Don't get me wrong. There's only so much you can focus on. So we go reactor, and then orbital.
SCV ready.
What are we playing? TVT. Ooh, he's following me. So what do we see, guys? We see a gas, a barracks. This looks very standard. We're just going to try and hide behind his base. Completely standard build. We could kill that bot there, but that's okay.
What's going on?
Let's get the depots there.
Command center upgrade complete.
Hey, Nizzy, we don't need your negativity, mate. I don't know what discussion you're trying to get going. We're just here enjoying a game. Don't get me wrong, we're not here all shilling for Blizzard, saying they're an amazing company, and we all love every decision they've made in the last few years. We've all pretty vocally said the opposite of that on a number of occasions. But hopping in a chat and saying shit like that, it's like, nah, bro. Nah, bro. You can go to the Battle.net forums if you want to wallow in misery. This ain't the place for it. We're teaching, we're learning, we're having some fun. Okay, guys, so if they do this, you just box, surround, A move, and then click back on the mouse. And it'll automatically go back. Let's build 2 barracks, go back to mining.
SCV ready.
You're picking a fight in the wrong neighborhood, boy. Really? Oh, you bad. Just killed 2 of his own SCVs. Control click the barracks, shift 5, set the rally point. All right, set the second gas. Oh, I just killed, look at that. Cancel, orbital. Put him there. We should be queuing him. That guy keeps being idle, but build command center, queue him should be something we do, guys.
Gangway coming through.
Awesome. But overall, guys, we saw the expand, so we don't need that 330 bunker, and we should be good.
SCV ready.
Command center upgrade.
Go, go, go.
You'd need to ask Blizzard that. Go on the Battle.net forums and ask them, Nizzy. Don't get me wrong, we normally have a pretty light hand, but this is basically the #1 trolling topic. Maybe you're new to the internet. This is the #1 trolling topic in the StarCraft community, is just going around. Guys, why is StarCraft a dead game? Why doesn't Blizzard care about it?
SCV ready.
There's only so much point talking about why your dad never came back from the gas station. What?
SCV ready.
No!
I think it worked. Thanks for the awesome educational content. 1.001000000ETH.
I think it worked. Oh my god, thank you so much. Oh my god. Depot builders. Gary, Bruce, Jennifer, go.
SCV ready.
Queue up more, guys. Queue up more. Oh my god. SCVs. Oh my god. Dude, thank you so much. If you have any specific questions, anonymous, I mean, I'm trying to answer everyone's questions, but I don't know. If you have any specific requests, let us know. Thank you so much for your overwhelming generosity. An entire Ethereum. Okay, guys, we're gonna, oof. All right, wow. All right, let's build that engineering bay. Let's swap these 2 around, guys. Get the tech lab. What do? 4th and 5th barracks, because we've got that money. Cue them back to mining. Get these guys to build more depots. Okay, guys. SCVs. Mules. We don't need any more after those SCVs. We just queued up about 5. We're already at 42. Okay? More Marines, more Marauders. And let's put everything to the front. Let's build medevacs now. Very important to start those first 2 medevacs with priority. And this is our army. When those medevacs come out, we're going to push. So let's try and get everything else set up before then. We've got concussive. We've got +1.
Research
Okay.
complete.
They're locked in there. So we're just going to build 2 depots. Jenny can go back to being a mineral miner.
Big job.
More Marines, more Marauders, and try to build a tank when we have the money. Oh, look, only one of those 2 barracks built, guys, so I kind of messed that up.
Ready for dust off.
So let's get that started. Queue those back to mining. Add them to the group, build a reactor, and that's our attack. All right, guys, let's go. So we're going to move out across this map. Now remember, whoa! Oh, stim aiming. I was about to say, now this is the point where I really should be actually scouting ahead of my pushes a bit more. Okay, well that works out. Whew, okay, phew. I was gonna say, look, we're getting to the level where we can probably start putting more marine spotters out and that sort of stuff. My opponents actually did pretty well there. Has 3 barracks. Their building placement is disgusting. That is one of the most disgusting base layouts I've ever seen in my life, guys. Okay, this is actually something I haven't talked about, and I should. Notice how my buildings are always in neat little sections. And I will only do 3 before I always leave a double space gap, which is a tank path, a tank road, and then I can do more. So I could do barracks, 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 leave a 2 space gap, barracks, barracks, barracks. But you've got to have neat, and notice my depots all are kind of in one area. So it's always in the same spot where I build those depots. This is a disgusting base layout. It's super disorganized, and notice they've forgotten add-ons and things. Notice I always build 2 barracks at once, queue back to mining, build 2 tech labs at once. These 2 barracks I messed up on, but it's always, I'm trying to, and the thing is, guys, if I messed up, say I got harassed a lot early, and I'm like, oh, I'm floating 600 minerals. You know what I'd do? I would go barracks, 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 barracks. I'd just build one big fat line of barracks. Why? Because then I can remember to come back 45 seconds later and build 4 add-ons. So twice. Once to build the barracks, once to build the add-ons. All I need to remember to get that up. If you build a barracks, go back to mining. Come back. Oh, I need another barracks. Build another barracks. Go back to mining. Come back. Build another barracks. Go back to mining. Oh, the first barracks is done. I need to build a tech lab. Go back to doing. Oh, another barracks is done. I need to build a reactor. Oh, another. You're creating distractions for yourself. And this is why you want to batch things up as much as possible. Are we going to do the same build all the way to GM? Absolutely not, guys. I think I might keep some format of this build all the way through Gold League. But I'm planning to swap to a mech build, probably for all of Platinum. Maybe something like that. We're getting close to gold already. So I think mech for all of Platinum to show a different side of Terran. All these fundamentals carry over, of course, right? And it should be really good. Iceman says, how do I attack workers with workers efficiently? I get cheese a few times. My enemy just sent all their workers to my base, killed my workers, even if I finish my barracks. Generally, you just want to attack move them, Iceman. Unless your opponent has done some very advanced worker micro, you'll probably win because you have more. Keep building SCVs. You just need to, the moment you see it, grab all your workers and A-move them. As long as they don't have, say, a big arc and your guys are all stuck behind each other, if you just fight in the open, you should be able to win that. Now, if they could do a thing where they stack all their workers in your minerals, and if they do that, well, you could just go hang out at your barracks, wait until you get a marine or 2 out, bring those over, and they'll have to come out of the little mineral pocket where they can stack the workers to fight efficiently. And then when they come out, your SCVs and marines can kill them, or your reapers and SCVs. But generally speaking, it's just about attack moving your workers quickly enough. As long as you built your depot properly at the start of the game, kept up your early worker production, you should be up a couple of workers, maybe 2 or 3 workers. SCVs are also awesome workers because they have 5 extra hit points. So probes are the weakest. It's the hardest to defend with Protoss. If you wall off with a command center, is it rectangle shaped or circle shaped? So basically it's rectangle, but the corners are curved. So it occupies the corner spaces, but it doesn't block the corner spaces. So what that means, right? Command centers, nexus, hatcheries all have the same thing, where it occupies that space, so you can't build on the corner, but you can walk through the corners. Kind of like a Age of Empires town center almost. So if you want to wall off with a command center, you always need to make sure you have a depot, not just overlapping by 1 square, but overlapping by both squares or hexes, as a lot of us just call them hexes, even though they are actually just grid squares in StarCraft. You need to make sure the depot is fully overlapped with it, not half overlapped. Same with pylons and nexi and that sort of thing as well. I'll show you when I start putting command centers down in walls. So guys, we've already talked a lot about the build order, right? We're getting towards Gold League and stuff. Soon we will evolve it and we'll start doing a transition. This time around, I am actually just going to introduce you guys as we get very close to promotion here. I think we're really close. We're like a couple games away. I'm going to introduce you guys to a couple of techniques, or not a couple of techniques, but basically what the transition looks like. So I'm actually, just so you guys know, just for trivia's sake, I'm actually going to not go for 5 racks this game. We're going to do the same opening, but we're going to take this opening and we're going to plug it into a macro follow-up, okay? I don't know why we're getting so much TBT, guys. I have no idea. There's a lot of TERRANs on right now. A lot of people watching Bronze to GM and wanting to apply the things they're learning. Change the rally point back. Build the depot. Yeah, I think the hex thing is probably from old turn-based like strategy games. There's a lot of ones where the board is a bunch of hexes, right? Good luck, have fun. Australia.
SCV ready.
So we go barracks. Howdy.
What's going on?
This is what we call cultural exchange, guys.
SCV ready. Big job.
Oh. Microaggression. Then.
SCV ready. Huh?
I'm like, wait, what's hello in
SCV ready.
that's the howdy of California.
SCV ready. Bad news.
Okay, so no gas. That's okay.
Huh?
California is kind of funny. California is kind of funny.
Ah, you scared me.
Command center upgrade complete.
Guys, so there was an SCV in my base, right?
This is your plan.
What the shit?
Add-on complete.
SCV
So guys,
ready.
don't fuck around. If your opponent's doing some cheeky bullshit, respect it. You're trapped in here with me! Now, he shouldn't be able to build a Reaper because he doesn't have gas. But, you know. Anyways. So, we're gonna build a bunker at the front.
You want a piece of me, boy?
We killed that. Let's move this guy forward, see if there's an expansion. We're already building a bunker because our opponent... he's doing strange things. I afraid. I want respect, crazy person, okay? Now, he doesn't have gas, so he could never have actually jumped in there. But yeah, he's trying to all in me, guys. So look at that, okay. So we're gonna kill those Marines.
Of course.
And then we go there. Now, keep in mind, this was always an option because he doesn't have gas.
Ready.
Oh, this guy's watching the stream for sure. He's taking gas on the natural. This is the dumbest build
Our
I've ever seen.
SCVs are
Anyway,
under
guys, let's
attack.
keep doing our build. Build 2 racks, build a gas, keep up SCVs and marine production, okay?
Our
Now, we can look at the other
SCVs are
side,
under attack.
and he's floating a...
Been waiting.
This is so abusable. This is the easiest win of my life if I go take advantage of it, but we're gonna keep doing the build, guys, because we don't have GM game knowledge. We're gonna do the build! We're gonna do the build. Basically, I could A-move, because he's being mega greedy, he's going planetaries into battle cruisers, guys, is what my opponent's doing. So, he only has 1 barracks. I have 3. If I A-move these Marines, we win the game. But we're gonna focus on the build, see if we can play around the very uncomfortable situation we'll find ourselves in. Let's focus. SCVs, SCVs, Marines, Marines. We don't actually need more depots just yet. I built that a bit early. So let's get a factory up. Let's get 2 tech labs. These barracks are quite late this game. Are you still... Was he in there this whole time? All right, we're gonna send 1 SCV to kill him. Keep building Marines. We got the factory. All right, let's build 1 depot there on the edge, and then we can have Bruce up here. We can start depot building.
Complete.
SCVs, Marines, SCVs, Marines. And yes, guys, if the player chats a lot, they almost always are doing some cheese. Now let's do spotting. So we're gonna send Marines along there.
10-4. By the numbers, boy.
We're checking all of the edge bases. We're also sending Marines to the watchtowers. And we're doing, what am I doing? Each time I select them, I'm stealing them onto number 0, remember guys? Marines, Marines, SCVs, SCVs, depot for Bruce. That last little bit of money. Alright guys,
Big
we need to
job.
go starport and reactor. Select them, put them both on the same key.
Bad news.
Cue that guy back to mining.
SCV ready.
And look at my map. We're checking. Is my opponent doing some Florencio shit? Okay. We take gases. We take engineering bay.
SCV
Notice we don't cue the gas SCVs back to mining. We build a few more SCVs, a few more Marines, and a depot.
Gangway. Coming through.
For those who don't know, Florencio is an infamous cheeser.
SCV ready.
So you can see now we've kind of spotted, oh, okay, you don't really have much. Now he's going to have a planetary up on that base, and he's going to be going DCs. So if your opponent's doing weird shit, guys. Oh, no, he's taking it there. Oh, no, it's an orbital. Okay, let's scan his base. Yeah, fusion core will be coming down next. My opponent has literally nothing.
Research complete.
What's going on?
Fifth barracks.
We could use some help here.
Time for a macro cycle, guys. Marine, Marauder, Medevac, Depot. Gary can join Bruce. And let's get everything else. +1 weapons is there.
Bad news. SCV.
Research
Put guys on gas.
complete.
Add these to the control group.
Add-on complete.
Make sure concussive is there. Marines, Marauders, tanks.
It's go time.
We don't need and we don't want to mule. We don't want to build SCVs because we're at 46 SCVs already. So once we hit 45, that's all we need. Now I said I was gonna do the macro transition, but I forgot in the chaos of whatever the fuck this game was from my opponent. Medevacs are out, guys. So let's push across the map. And my opponent has no production. So I have 2 bases. He has 3. But he has no production. And he's building an armory and more command centers. So if I give my opponent 3 or 4 minutes for these 4 command centers to pay off, I will be in trouble. But we kill his widow mines.
Research complete.
It's very important that we now are going to counter widow mines. How do you counter someone massing widow mines, guys? You build 2 command centers, and they're just for scanning. Okay. Behind that, Marines, Marauders, tanks, medevacs, and depots. Okay. Remember, our army is not actually being A-moved to engage yet.
I'm going.
Always finish your macro first, and then you go in, okay?
Orders.
And we're gonna just stim. A-move in, he's building turrets. We're gonna build more Marines and Marauders off our key while we watch the fight. More tanks, more medevacs. Now, if you want, you don't have to build depots in these scenarios, because you're about to run in anyway. Is this Florencio I'm playing? Seems like a lower level flow. So we just saw Widow Mines there, guys. So notice I'm moving north. Oh no, the turrets! We're just gonna stim.
Upgrade complete.
I lost my medevacs. If I was super pro, I would have pulled those medevacs away. That is a macro aggression. I didn't have any scans. Now, Marauders outrange Widow Mines, guys. Marines don't. Marines have the same range as them. Now, you can do a lot of things, but if they don't have much support, honestly, if I just wanted to kill and it was just Widow Mines, you know what I'd do, guys? I would just A-move, and then I would just grab the guys at the front, and I'd just kind of send them through. And I'd just let them take the Widow Mines. Cool, the Widow Mines are gone. They're all dead. But the rest of my army comes in and breaks them. Don't get too afraid of Widow Mines. Sometimes it's good just take a chunk of units, run them through them, spread them a little bit if you want to, but they'll take all the Widow Mines, and then the rest of your army can come on in. So yeah, this build made about 0 sense from my opponent. It was 1 barracks rally marine across the map, bunker distraction. So I didn't even need to attack this bunker, guys. I respected it because this is a default reaction to our opponent building things in our base. But if we use our game knowledge, we know worst case scenario, because all we know is he went 1 barracks, right? Worst case scenario is he's proxied some barracks out here or here, and he's going to float them in, or he's going to run Marines in the front. But I've got a wall off. So as long as I got a bunker up, we would be all fine. Yeah. GG's. Flo would be Danklord. That is true. That is true. Oh, almost gold. Almost gold, guys. All right, we're almost there. Did he not finish the bunker? No, my SCVs were attacking him. He had to run away. He had to run away, or he would have lost the SCV. All right, one more game, I think, for today's show to wrap up this first section of B2GM TERRAN. I like to keep it a little tighter because obviously otherwise it just goes on and on and on. So we're going to try and do that macro transition I talked about, guys, rather than the 5 racks. How do you steal from the control groups? Ooh, my internet. What's going on? Let me cancel. Hello? Game? Just log out, log back in. All good. Yeah, how do you steal from control group? It's alt plus number by default, but we set it up at the start of the show to just make it so if you guys go back to the beginning of Bronze to GM, you can you can actually see that we made it so just pressing tilde, the key to the left of number 1, that just dumps units onto number 0. Just super efficient. Thanks, Aaron Guardian Wisp. Then road to 6K Terran. We're very busy planning for Pigsty right now, but I might be able to squeeze a couple more games in. We haven't done a 5-hour stream yet, which I normally do, so yeah, we might squeeze a couple games in. Probably random games, though. Probably not road to 6K, since we've already spent a lot of energy. B2GM doc, yeah, it kind of lists out a lot of the info as well that we cover. So, not everything, but yeah, a lot of it. Chicken, Herbert's Adams Pie. Did you get the Camembert one? Camembert. It's good. What do we got, guys? Oh! We got a Zerg player! We got a Zerg! Alright, guys, so what's different about playing a Zerg? Nothing. It's a solid game plan, but we are going to do the macro follow-up, like I said this time, which will be interesting to see how that goes. So that's going to be really interesting. I think this is the first or second ZVT we've had. Maybe the first of the whole show, which is crazy. I imagine we're going to hit a lot of Zergs in like Gold League or something like that. Just one of those things where sometimes the ladder is super streaky in terms of what you're getting. So it's the exact same opening, guys, but after the 3 racks is up and we're like moving out with our push and stuff, that sort of thing, rather than getting the 4th and 5th barracks, we're going to go 3rd command center, and we're going to get a 2nd engineering bay and an armory to continue our upgrades. We'll still add more barracks after that. We'll see how it goes. Now, if they attack you like this, guys, you got to pull 2 SCVs. Queue up a few more. Oh, that's interesting. Can we get over there to wall off? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to send an SCV scout, and the reason for that is this could be a big all-in, or it could be something we don't even have to worry about. So we're going to wall off as well, just to be safe here, I think. Yeah, we'll wall off. So if your opponent's building buildings in your base, you want to have a very extreme response. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a bunker, like here. And we're going to make orbital, marine. We're just going to make marines. My internet! Ooh, lag hacks. Now what are we looking at, guys? Just does my opponent actually have a spawning pool? They do, but no gas. So we're going to hide behind their expansion with that SCV. Oh, unless he chases us, which he does. So we'll try to run the SCV away.
Our SCVs are under attack.
And we're just going to wall off here and try to defend with non-stop marines, okay?
Our SCVs are under attack.
And then what do we do behind that? Well, that's all we're doing. Go back to the build. What's next in the build? Command center. Okay.
Our SCVs
So we'll build a command center over here. Now we see he's actually building eggs, and that's throbbing, which means there's a queen building. So remember, guys, keep an eye out. If Zerg structures are throbbing, then it means they're... Sounds so fun. We're going to raise that depot. Now, this building placement's actually not very good. Oh my god. I don't know what's going on with my internet, guys.
SCVs are under attack.
Okay. So this SCV's on repair. These guys are also going to be there, trying to just fight the Zerglings as they come out. And we're going to try to unload the bunker. And click on the creep tumor. We want to just click on that bunker then. Okay. So notice, we're just going to put all of our SCVs on auto repair now. And we're going to try and split the SCVs up. So he's being really annoying. So we're going to keep microing. And this would be much harder to do, I think. for you guys if you're not used to
Our
it. So
SCVs
I'm not really sure how to
are
explain what we're doing here, other than the fact that my bunker placement's really bad and it's making this way harder than it needs to be. So this would be way, way easier if we didn't mess up that bunker placement so bad, okay? Now, what we need to do here is we actually need to kill the queen, right?
We could use some help here.
Let's build 2 barracks and then queue back. Okay. Just keep the bunkers up at all times. A move SCVs when we need
is under
to.
attack.
So notice, A move, shift click on the minerals. Keep building bunkers, keep building SCVs, okay? These guys can go there. Anything survive here? So we scan, make sure there's no creep tumors. Whew. So the problem there is that bunker blocked the Marines popping out. They actually couldn't fit here with the depot raised, guys. For whatever reason, the thing they kept popping up on the outside, which meant I needed to leave my door open. So if we just built a bunker there and a bunker there, this would have been so much easier. Anyways, well, we need to build a reactor now. What else do we build for this build, guys? Well, we need gas. We need a second gas, 2 tech labs.
Command center upgrade.
We're just going to stay on one base for a moment, I guess, but we can sell the back bunker. Let's go build a bunker at the front just in case, I guess. We can sell this one, put these guys on an army group, and then we can float that command center down there, right?
Add-on complete.
And remember, we will do the macro follow-up, guys. But yeah, that bunker placement should have just been down 1 space, and then the Marines could have just popped, we could have rallied straight to it, and it would have been way better.
Add-on complete.
Just 1 space so the Marines had space to pop out of the barracks. That's all that we needed there, guys. Because otherwise they were going to keep popping up on the outside of the wall, which meant I needed the wall down, so I kind of let him inside. I'll break that down in the replay a little bit more for you guys. You've always got to leave space for your units to pop out of your buildings. Alright guys, so is the main saturated? Notice we're not rallying SCVs. So, we'll rally the SCVs, queue up more SCVs, because our macro is being shit. We're playing Zerg, so you always need a wall off against Zerg. So Bruce can start the wall off there. Build some more Marines. We've got stim, shields on the way.
Base is under attack.
Oh, look at this. So we didn't have our bunker loaded yet. So our opponent's running around with slow Zerglings. So we're just going to repair. So R, right click, or you could just right click if it's already full, and then go there. Now more SCVs, more mules, more Marines and Marauders. Let's put the rally points down here. And let's go starport plus reactor. And yeah, I think Gary and Bruce need to join forces. So let's just keep these depots going. So more SCVs, more Marines. We can check the add-ons in between that, right? So concussive shells. And we're going to be putting that something. Now remember, no more barracks from here, guys. Next will be 3rd command center. And then a 2nd engineering bay and an armory. So where's our 1st engineering bay, first of all? It's kind of late. Is having auto repair on bad? Situational. It can be really nice and it can be good, depending on the situation. So if you want to A-move your SCVs to block and take aggro, but they have auto repair on, they won't count as an attacking unit, which is a big problem. Okay. Alright. Now remember, we always wait for the first 2 medevacs. I'm going to start that 3rd command center here. +1 weapons. 2 medevacs. Alright, more SCVs, guys.
Research complete.
Let's get the gases. And in this case, we're never going to stop building SCVs because we're doing a macro transition. So let's lower the depots. Let's grab these guys. Let's try and kill these. So notice, we're not going to attack him straight away, but he's staring. The fact he noticed that tells us our opponent has some of the worst macro you guys have never seen. The fact that a player at this level was watching the front at that time tells us our opponent is not looking at their economy at all. Like, they are tunnel visioned on the front, guys. So, oh, we finished the wall. It's important to keep building depots, of course. Just because you finished your wall doesn't mean you can stop that. And then we go 2nd armory, 2nd eBay and armory. There we go. Okay, guys, let's go. This is our attack, so we're going to move out. I have a feeling this guy has borrowed banelings. Whether they do or not, we're not going to spread for it. That's my spidey sense tingling. We're going to go to the front. Scan here. Oh, let's go to the right. What are we doing while we move across to the staging point, guys? Tanks, medevacs, bio. Tanks, medevacs, bio. Control grouping those. Building depots. Ooh, we're on creep. Drop a scan. And stim and A move. Let's go. I'm out of scan, so I actually can't see what's ahead of this. He's got banelings, guys. Let's spread. Oof. So now we can try to A move. So because we killed all the banelings there. Ooh, we didn't know. We didn't know. Ooh, okay. So look, what do? We clumped up. Oh no, don't do that. Spread and just stand there. Leave these units. They're still on a control group, so I can select it and press stim if I see him engage on the minimap. But otherwise, guys, we make an orbital. Depots. Keep building SCVs here. Stim my army, but don't actually control it. Don't even look at it. Because remember what we said. As long as you guys are spread out and you stim them, they'll do their job. You can look over, look, they're still killing things. So we're building lots of Marines. Now, once you've got the 3rd CC and the 2-1 upgrades on the way, now we can think about getting a 4th and 5th barracks. Okay, guys? So what are we going to do? You take this, you jump down to the 3rd. I actually haven't set up my camera locations, funnily enough. You take the SCVs that are excess. Now, you can set the rally point, but if you do that, notice we just stopped that from landing. So be careful, guys. If you select the command centers to change your rally point, you can either shift-click it out and then right-click, or you wait for it to land and then you rally them over, or you rally them before you lift it off. One or the other, right? SCVs, mules, Marines, Marauders, tanks. We've got the upgrades on the way. What don't we have? You guys know it. 4th and 5th barracks. So we don't even have 2 base production yet. Okay? Now this is a really interesting point in the game because we're actually taking a 3rd this time, and this is where you make a decision about what path you want to go. So a very standard one would be, you know what, let's just build 3 more barracks, right? Alternatively, we could instead of that, that's a very mineral focused one, we could go double gas and drop 2 factories. And be a bit more tank heavy, right? Both good options, both good options. Eventually you can have a big enough economy to do both technically. It's just about choosing what composition you like. We'll do the tank one this game, okay guys? Do CCs remember rally points when you lift? No, they don't. So it'll still need to have its rally point set once it's down there as well. Okay guys, so we've got upgrades on the way. We do need to keep the depots building, of course, so bring Bruce back down there. 2 reactors, because we're already very heavy on tech labs, remember. And we want a lot of Marines against Zerg, especially if we're building lots of tanks. And then, yeah, you could basically just keep making upgrades. We can make vehicle weapons because we're making lots of tanks. We can make missile turrets in case there's tunneling roaches or mutas. Oh, look, we're suddenly in a macro game. So the more you're sitting back and macroing, you're going to notice we're doing more things. We're adding more upgrades. We're adding little safety mechanisms. You know, oh, my opponent did a baneling drop, so now I'm going to build turrets on the edges of my base. Like this sort of stuff you start doing. Oh, you know what? I am going to actually get armory upgrades, which I normally don't bother with at all, right? So that's exactly it. Wouldn't you get a planetary on your 3rd? You never get a planetary on your 3rd. Orbital is much more valuable. Gives you a lot of money, guys. Planetary is for 4th base, 5th base, 6th base. Don't get me wrong, if you're in the lower leagues, you can get away with taking your 3rd as a planetary. But Ruff is one of the few high-level players who will do that. You really need the scans, you need the money coming in from the mules, all that stuff is very important. Okay guys, so now obviously you don't want to wait too long, right? Now, so we still want to think of this in terms of like, oh, okay, I have 2-1 upgrades and 5 siege tanks or something. Okay, time to move out, right? So let's scan a little bit, see what are we up against. Okay, so there's a base there. Let's move forward. And we're already thinking about what our push angle will be because we're already thinking about, you know, where we're going to be spreading our guys. Now, we're going to scan and look at that. Oh my God, pull back, pull back. Did you see that? There's an army there of banelings. How do I do this? Okay, guys, we're going to start having to leapfrog tanks. Select a tank, tell it to siege. Shift. We're using shift siege. Shift siege. Okay, guys? I think we have another tank under there, right? Shift siege. And we're going to start moving our bio forward in little sections, okay? Take a moment. Check our upgrades. Okay, lots of Marines and Marauders. Lots of tanks, lots of medevacs. And oh my gosh, look at that. Great run by. That I was not expecting. But this is why keeping your production up is very important. So he's going to kill some stuff there. We're just going to focus on that. We're not moving that army. So you know what we can do? We could leave a tank here to help defend that sort of stuff. We can put guys back on gas. And we can also do a supply drop just to round it out. And we've got all these upgrades coming in. And now you go, well, he's not fighting either. What happens if they don't fight you, dude? It's like, well, it's kind of annoying, guys. So these guys can come forward as well. But let's just keep moving forward, okay? So we're going to move that tank. Shift click. Siege. Shift click siege. Stim. I'm going to try and move forward. Let's clear some more of this creep. These guys are going to go over here. But just a small squad. Never move everything at once, guys. Okay, these guys can now move forward. I feel like we got control over this area. Now notice I'm grabbing these guys. I'm saying kill the creep tumors. Shift a move back, okay? And now look at this. Now we've got this ledge. Oh, awesome. So I'm just clicking the tanks, sieging them. Now you can do this with 2 or 3 tanks at a time. This is pretty APM intensive, right? So...
Base is under attack.
Oh no! Run away! It's one of the best techniques you guys want to learn, guys. This is what camera locations are good for. Oh, my third's under attack. You jump to the third, box the workers, click on the minerals or the gas and the natural. Oh, it's cleaned up.
Mineral field depleted.
Ooh! You guys saw how nice that was. So you get really... This is one of the big advantages is defending run-bys and counterattacks becomes much better in these sort of scenarios. Now, we're going to actually siege a tank there and another tank there because we can see he's chilling out here with some Zerglings. Oi! And we're just going to try and like set up positions for him to try and bait him into. So we're kind of like, okay. So we're going to leave those guys there. Anyways, let's move everything else forward. So like I said, what you can do, guys, is you can do this. You can go, okay, 3 tanks, unsiege and move there. That tank, unsiege and move there. And then you kind of box him forward, box him forward. Now, this is obviously very arduous and kind of slow. But usually for your opponent, it is so stressful, right? It is so stressful. We're still getting Marines, Marauders, tanks. Oh, we lost our tech labs there, our medevacs. So anyways,
Mineral field.
keep in mind, I'm not really looking at my macro at all. We're doing this as like a 3 base or die trying. Why? Because we could take 1 billion bases right now. I could be like, yo, let's build 5 command centers. The reason we're not doing that is let's focus on actually getting this army forward, all right? Let's focus on doing that as much as we can. My opponent's making lurkers now. So I don't know how many bases my opponent has. Oh no, like this can get kind of silly, guys, right? If we take too long. So if you want, you can go. That, I'm telling it to just drop on a base, okay? These guys, I'm telling to just drop on a base. And that's going to tell me if he's secured any of these corner bases, right? So we can do that as well. And if you're worried about not having high ground vision, you can put a thing there. And then we can grab these guys. We can go, okay, let's grab this reinforcing army. And let's push this right side. Okay? Clear the creep. Always scan to clear the creep. And look at that. His army came forward, but we can stim.
Mineral field depleted. Mineral field
Power that
depleted.
medevac being there on the high ground. Very important. And we control quick the tanks, siege them. And there's no banelings. So notice we can kind of run around in a ball now. Because lurkers aren't as quick as banelings. They're kind of like a siege tank.
Base is under attack.
Ooh, that's a problem. That's a big one. So we're going to send some bio home. That's a lot of Zerglings, guys. So we're going to try and send a lot of bio home.
Our SCVs
These
are
guys
under
apparently didn't find a base. So they're just going to clear
is
some
under
creep.
attack.
Notice I raised the wall. Okay? That command center can die. It's fine. And we're kind of like, we're just setting up and let our opponent make stressed out bad decisions, okay? Let our opponent take bad fights. He does some damage there. It's fine. Doesn't matter, guys. We just go there. Take some more. This is Silver 1, guys. We're not updating the stream title as quickly as we could. So we did. So our opponent played really well. Great creep spread. Lots of good movement. But their macro was really lacking. So they just had a lot less stuff than us. And this was exacerbated even more so, right? Because we went for the bigger macro play. Now what's kind of funny here, right, guys, is I think we saw that if your opponent refuses to fight a frontal push, it can be a little frustrating to get your guys in there. Why didn't we lift the CC? We were just simulating the mistakes that a player who's not as aware of everything and as calm as me might make a little bit. That's all. Obviously, you would want to lift it if you guys noticed it. Yeah, I was just trying to simulate. I was like, you guys, with this much stuff going on, I don't think many people would notice that. So,
Ready for pickup?
yeah, it's just one of those things though where it's like, okay, it can be hard to frontal push, but I think in those scenarios, if you've got a forward army on the map, it's so hard for them to move around the map. It's so stressful, and I really do think starting to just queue some drops or some liberators in. Not even microing them much, you just queue 8 Marines to go drop a base. It's so stressful for them to deal with.
Talk to me.
And you know what? I could have just taken a few more command centers and so on if I wanted to. I can just keep pumping out this bio off my 5 barracks, 3 factories, and a starport. My opponent had really good movement, great creep spread. People are once again saying, is it a smurf? Is it a smurf? So this seems to be something that Twitch chat is obsessed with. And this tells me the people who are wanting to watch Bronze to GM might also be the same people who are a little bit fixated on something that should not matter to you guys. It really should not matter, guys. It just should not. Is this a smurf? That's too high. He could be in Gold League. I don't know. Look, the APM's too high. Guys, one thing in isolation doesn't mean anything. Maybe they've left some games. Maybe this is a lower level account. Who knows? But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This is not a Smurf detective show. Some people, no, they're definitely smurfing. They're definitely smurfing. Why are you guys so obsessed with this? There's silvers with 200 APM for sure. Notice with the macro game, my APM was way higher. But let's go back to the early cheese. This is definitely a good rush from my opponent, guys. In general, it's such a distraction when you're trying to get better if you focus on, oh, my opponent could be a smurf. Because StarCraft, in general, one of the earliest things I learned as a StarCraft player was if my opponent's really good at one thing, they're really bad at other things. Attention is a resource. The moment you're thinking, oh, this player is too good at this, you're not thinking about what are they giving up to focus on this. Guys, they floated 600 minerals on one base and hadn't even dropped an expansion. Were they microing their Zerglings well? Yeah, they were running around avoiding the bunkers. This was a really cool rush. I'm telling you, they weren't an insanely high level player with it. Maybe they were higher than this rank. Maybe I got matched against someone who's gold 1. Either way, it seemed like a pretty good rush. Let's go back to the big mistake I made with that bunker placement. I thought it wouldn't block it, but if I put the bunker 1 space down, I could have just rallied the barracks to the bunker. It would have been fine. Because I built the bunker here, guys, it actually meant, even though the rally point was there, maybe if I put the rally point just slightly north or something, it would have been okay, but it was like, nah, unit can't pop there. So look what's happening. The Marines are popping on the outside where Zerglings can kill them, rallying across the map. Oh, which is really bad, of course. So my plan here, guys, is because I didn't think this was completely all in, I actually tried to be a bit of a greedy boy. Made things harder for myself than I needed to be, right? In hindsight, we spotted that this was a 12 pool. We spotted that there was a hatchery in my base. Rather than building a command center, I absolutely could have just gone 3 barracks straight away and just pumped Marines, right? For sure. I also, if I really wanted to, I could have pulled like 7 SCVs and attacked the hatchery almost immediately, and it would die by the time it finishes. And then you don't even need the bunker if you do that. So there's a few different ways you can do it. Can you re-rally directly into the bunker? I actually don't know if that works. Does anyone in chat know? I feel like the unit has to pop out and then get in the bunker technically. But yeah. You think there might be a space there? Maybe. I don't think a Marine can fit in there because it's the edge of the hatchery. If it was on the corner of the hatchery, I think it could. But maybe I could have rallied them. Couldn't you ever rally them above the hatch? Yeah, it's just because there's Queens and Zerglings popping out. So then they've got to walk all the way around to get to the bunker. Just a lot of people are saying you can, but guys, I don't actually trust Twitch chat. Maybe I could have clicked on the bunker. I'm not sure. But anyways, if I just put that 1 space down, it wouldn't have cost me anything. It would have also given me better coverage over here as well. So the important thing, though, is not to do everything at once. Don't build a bunker and 3 barracks and pull 8 SCVs. This is the problem a lot of people have. Be organized. Write it down. Write it down. Chat's like, but for sure. I'm like, oh, that's going to make me trust you guys. Normally, when I don't trust someone, it's not that I don't trust you. I don't blindly believe you guys. People in chat lie to me all the time with absolute confidence. Like, this is definitely this. And they're wrong a lot of the time. Yeah, and there's a lot of people. Obviously, you can rally to a bunker, but will the unit pop out? There's a lot of people who really don't understand the concepts of the game that we're even talking about to interact. I'm sure a lot of them do, but there's people like, yeah, you can rally to a bunker. I'm like, I know you can rally to a bunker. Will the unit spawn inside the bunker, though? does it need to technically spawn outside for just a fraction of a second before popping in there? That's something I doubt many people actually know or not. I can go into unit tester and check it or whatever, but I can't be bothered right now. Yeah. But anyway, so we tried to shift, we tried to have the Marine rally out there, but he was popping on the outside. I thought that was enough space. Apparently not. Anyways, doesn't matter, guys. A lot of people just gonna, oh, no, we're right. Just believe us while we chant. I'm like, no, I'm never gonna believe anything you guys say unless I actually have a GIF or a video or anything like that as evidence, or it's someone I really trust. Like if someone like Ragno says, I just hopped in there, I tested it in game, I'd be like, I believe you, I take that. Everyone else, no, sorry guys. You know, if it's a regular who says they actually went and tested it and they're like, oh yeah, I tested it, bunker was adjacent, rallied, popped right inside, it was never out. Like every other area was surrounded and still popped out there or whatever. Thank you very much for the love, guys. Really appreciate the support. Hey Plox, how you doing, my friend? Yeah, a little wild. We got a whole 1.25 Ethereum today. Absolutely wild. So anyway, guys, keep it simple. If we're going to do the bunker response, we're going to put the bunker there, go 3 barracks. Once we shut the hatchery down and all this, build the command center, build the gas, get back on track for a normal game. And that's it. Because we had to keep raising and lowering the depot, and then this bunker, if we were going to do a second bunker, it should have been that. We didn't even need a second bunker. If we had 3 barracks, we'd just have that. That would be full. And then we could just micro the rest of the Marines around here, and it would have been so much easier. But instead, I had to do a bit of multitasking, and it's all because the defense wasn't there. So guys, this likely, if I was truly playing with Gold League mechanics or whatever you guys, silly restriction you want to call it, if I didn't dig a bit into maybe what I would call diamond reactions, absolutely probably would have taken a lot more damage. Maybe not lost, but would have been a much harder game. Okay, guys? A much harder game. A much harder game. So keep in mind, this stuff happens. And every Bronze GM, people get angry at me. They're like, you should have lost the game. And I'm like, it's okay. Count it as a loss. It's okay, guys. We can switch things up. Just keep in mind that that's actually huge. That's actually huge if you clean up this response. We're miles ahead. As it is, our opponent took a long time to build a hatchery and should have taken like 3 hatcheries at once and didn't inject it all during the meantime as well. So our opponent did a pretty good job of doing a lot of things, but their macro was abysmal. They finally started injecting, but then they build 10 slow zerglings for no reason. Like, yeah. I think their early rush is good. In some regards, their speed of play is good. But look, even this, they're building a baneling nest in a lair and double gas with no drones on the natural. So their ability to macro is truly Silver League. Absolutely, guys. This is Silver League macro. I mean, look at this. There's almost no workers, and they just took workers off a not fully saturated main to the natural. This is really bad. For those of you like, it's a smurf. It's not a smurf, guys. I would not call that a smurf as... Ooh! Ooh! Oh my god. Thank you so much, dude. GG's. Whoa! Yeah, opponent's 2,400, so they're gold 3 as well. I think they're about gold 3, guys. I bought that promo with Ethereum. I think we probably will mix in the macro transition off this opening, and also start trying to build the habit of dropping a little bit more as we do that, guys, or even queuing liberators in. So let's write a few notes here. I haven't really been tabbing out much to our document, guys, but let's go out and let's take a little look and plan for our next session, okay? Got some nice habits. Died to a cheese attack. All right. Session 1, bronze 2 to gold to silver 1. And next is going to be gold 3, okay? We're just going to go right down. Memorize a set series of steps to react. Cool. Anyways, we can come back and add those notes or whatever. But let's for now just go down here and say, okay, session 2, Gold 3 plus. What are we going to do for gold 3, guys, to gold 1? So gold 3 to gold 1. And we're going to start slowing down with the improvement a lot because I think we're mostly out of our provisional MMR already. So plug our same opening into the macro transition. So what does that mean? Sub out the 4th and 5th racks for 3rd CC, 2nd eBay plus armory. Okay? Okay. And what else are we going to do? Add some trops and liberator harassment just to interact / scout / pressure our opponent with minimal APM and attention investment for maximum payoff, right? Okay. Still try to push very hard off 3 base, but do drop a 4th at some point if we can't kill. Okay. We need to keep unlocking bases, mostly just to transfer workers as minerals by now. 3 base workers / saturation, 60 to 60, about 60 workers is more than enough for us all the way to Diamond 1. Okay? We're not doing any of this 85 worker bullshit. Any micro on the drops? Only the most basic. It'll depend a bit on the situation, but if we're too busy, we will literally just queue them in a mineral line, not look at them, or we might like stim, move the drop into a mineral line, and then just like go home, let it do its job. But it's going to be minimal, but it'll be a little based on the situation, right? So if we've had a very clean game and our macro is organized, we maybe put a bit more into it. If we're not sure what our opponent's doing and we're confused by what they're doing, we might put more APM into it because we want to... What's he got? What's he defending with? Right? So that's kind of some stuff we're going to do. Tested the bunker. Marine will pop out somewhere else and walk to the bunker. So this case, at top since below is blocked by depot, bunker, and hatch. So, okay, Cascade tested the bunker, guys. The Marine will pop out somewhere else and walk to the bunker. Even when, when the bunker's right. Even when the bunker's right next to it. Okay. So I was right. Good to know that chat was wrong. Everyone tried to tell me. And once again, everybody was wrong in chat. I'm very happy. Your mind is blown? Really? I love that. I love finding out new words. So anyway, guys, basically we're still going to be doing a lot of 3 base pushes and stuff. If we stall out on one angle, we can push a different angle with the reinforce. TVT versus tank defense, etc. Right? So what does that mean? So if someone's got tanks in front of our 3 base push, we'll grab our reinforce and go to a new angle. We're not going to force our way through a lot of tanks, right? With biotank. But what is that bad verse? Mass charge. Massling. Mass bio. Splitting our army up will allow the mobile army... What's it called? Could call it divide and conquer. What's the other one? Defeat and detail or whatever it is. What is it? Where you just bring... what's the military term? Something detail. I was watching a video this morning. Oh, shit. Anyway, we'll call it divide and conquer for now. Defeat and detail? I think that's it. Defeat and detail. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, we don't want to split our army up versus like a super mobile army, where we want to kind of keep our shit together, right? But versus a more immobile but very good staticky army, disruptors, tanks, tank defense, disruptors, lurkers, etc. Immobile siege defense, right? You can rally straight to the bunker. All right, guys, we're going to solve this to finish today's stream, I think. Alrighty then, let's go. Let's check. Cascade Fury and Cascading Simulations both coming up with different results, apparently. Or maybe I'm misinterpreting what Cascade Fury said. We'll see. It's interesting to know. It is interesting to know. Because I legitimately have no idea. I don't actually sit on either side of this. Like, my instinct in that game was that I think that the unit has to pop out before it gets in the bunker. But, like, I actually don't know. It's just that I, as a point of principle, don't trust Twitch chat to test things. Because it's easy to misunderstand something, right?
Big job.
Okay.
SCV
Just
ready.
get we need a depot to build barracks and then build a okay. Okay.
SCV ready.
You can create a bunker chain rallying from bunker to transport units without exposing them. That's true. That is true. You can do that. But I just don't know if it can do that straight from a barracks because the unit needs to exist.
In the rear with
It can't because the unit can't like garrison in a barracks. That's kind of the whole problem in my eyes. Is that I think the unit needs to pop out to be in existence before it can get in the bunker. Once it's in a bunker, you can have like 8 bunkers in a row, guys, and you can just
bad news.
So anyway, we can
You scared me. Sure thing.
okay.
SCV ready.
Does the spawn location make a difference? Well, you can rally. You rally where the unit's going to spawn, right? People are saying you have to block the left exit. Well, let's just test it like this and see if it can get straight in there, or if it'll pop out there, and then we can try it again over here, I guess.
It's your dime. Big job, huh?
I can set up another one that's completely surrounded.
Yep. In the rear with the gear.
That's the cheap way. Well, obviously that didn't test it because
Bad news.
so this guy, obviously he can't pop in between anywhere here. That's all blocked. So the question is, can he get straight in the bunker? First test. Nope, they cannot. If they have anywhere else to spawn, they cannot. So my initial thing was correct. Now what if the barracks is completely surrounded?
Who wants some?
Can it pop straight in there in that scenario? I doubt it.
In the rear with the
Let's
gear.
check.
What's going on?
So we want to start a marine first, and then we can wall this off. We'll get the minerals for it in time. There we go. In case you're wondering, yes, that is
Thanks for
solid.
the Bezos bucks.
Rally points clicked on the bunker. Ah! It popped out there and then went in the bunker. But if I don't have it on the bunker, can it pop out or will it be stuck?
Go, go, go.
It just pops out here.
By the numbers, boy.
But yeah, you'd need the barracks to be completely surrounded. So my instinct was correct about the bunker, guys. It's good to know. Obviously, yeah, what if we like surround it even more? Is there a point where the Marines can't get out?
Go ahead.
It's like, where are you gonna pop now, bitch? So now, yeah, it has a range on it. At a certain point, it can't get out. So the Marine needs to exist before it can get in a bunker, guys. But if you create a bunker chain, like we were talking about,
Job, huh?
this is like the TERRAN subway, my friends. Then you can do some fun things.
You want a piece of me, boy?
See, that rallies there, 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 that rallies there. And that rallies there, and that rallies there.
What's going on?
You need to hold down all of them.
Been waiting on you. Who won?
You can kind of do that. It's interesting though. It does seem like they do actually pop out in between them. It's just so goddamn fast. You can obviously do it the other way. Oh, that one didn't. Okay. I had the rally point wrong. And that's a bunker train. Cool. So this is what you do if you're a mean drill sergeant. You make him do sprints back and forth. Run, boy! Bet you don't even have the common decency. Man, you from behind to give him a reach around. Suck a golf ball through a garden hose, that sort of shit. There we go. Very nice. All right, cool. Good to know. Just leave a space for your Marine to pop out, guys. Very important. And that's a bunker train. I think this is a perfect place to cut it off, of course, at gold 3, so we can do all of gold in the next one.